Avalanche warning was in effect at the time with heavy snow and gale force winds. It took hours for some 50 rescuers to get to a group of 6 that managed to survive the avalanche that was described as the length of a football field. They dug their way out and were able to send text messages with their emergency beacons and call for help. Those who survived ranged in age from 30 to 55. 2 were not able to walk out, but they are expected to be okay.
Fox's Claudia Cowan in Sausalito. The skiers were on the last day of the backcountry trip. The area near Donner Summit was closed for nearly a century before it was reopened in 2020. The Pima County Sheriff says they continue to sift through evidence in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie after DNA collected on a glove found near the scene did not match any profile in the FBI database.
The Sheriff's Department writing, investigators are currently looking into additional investigative genetic genealogy options for DNA evidence to check for matches. CODIS is one option of many databases that are available.
Fox's Matt Finn in Tucson. The Department of Homeland Security remains shut down as members of Congress are in recess. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt criticized the plan from Democrats to end the stalemate.
Last night, they sent over a counter proposal that, frankly, was very unserious, and we hope they get serious very soon because Americans are going to be impacted by this.
The shutdown does not affect ICE or Customs and Border Protection. They are paid with funding from the passage of last year's Big Beautiful Bill. It does affect the departments like FEMA and the TSA. America's listening to Fox News.
History. It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
The yellow light!
I'm walking here! I'm walking!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here on Seattle Red 770 AM. We are streaming on the Seattle Red app, online at seattlered.com. Governor Bob Ferguson is confident that the millionaire tax that his office wrote is going to pass, despite disagreements that he's pretending to have with the Democrats. And by the way, Seattle Times just figured out, they're trying to pass this as with a necessity clause, meaning you're not going to be able to vote on it. Better late than never, I guess. We're going to get into that and so much more. But first, things are so bad in Seattle, there's now overdose guides for dogs. That's what's trending, brought to you by the Sunset Auto family.
What's trending? The drug crisis.
We have reached a point so bleak in Seattle and really King County that public health is now training homeless dog owners on how to treat fentanyl overdoses in their pets. Now, we're really only talking about dogs, but obviously any animal can accidentally consume fentanyl or meth or some sort of drug. Andrea Suarez, the founder of We Heart Seattle, I noticed over the weekend she had posted a video in Belltown after she spotted these flyers, and I recalled maybe a week before that, maybe a week and a half or so, that I had also seen these flyers that were just littered on the sidewalk. And I will say it's an adorable dog with a needle in his mouth, a syringe, almost like it's a bone. I've got the art over at seattlered.com. And I looked at the materials. They're officially distributed by Seattle and King County Public Health in partnership with an organization that's actually based out of Canada, or it used to be. Their website says they don't even operate anymore, so I don't know how old these are, but I spoke with a spokesperson yesterday about this. The program is done by the Indigenous Harm Reduction Team. Harm reduction, we've talked about a lot. It's a scam of a strategy coming from people who don't want to stop the use of drugs. Harm reduction is how to, quote unquote, reduce the harm associated with illicit drug abuse. It's not about treatment. It's about helping someone if they overdose or making it a little bit safer to continue their drug addiction. And in this flyer that has a lot of text, there's no way that any of these homeless people are reading, because I barely got through it all. And I was covering the story. But it tells residents how to perform CPR on a dog, how to administer naloxone or Narcan on a dog. And they say they have it as a resource on hand if they get questions. But again, they must have got a lot of questions, because I saw quite a few of those flyers in Belltown. And we've seen stories over the course of the last several months, and really the last several years, where dogs have been consuming the drugs, just going on walks. So it's not even just homeless people. And this is something I am terrified of. Like anyone who has a dog specifically, if there is any bit of food anywhere, anything that they could put in their mouth and consume, they will do so. And if you are not watching that dog like a hawk on your walks, it's possible that they pick something up and you won't even know it. So you can't even intervene. And I mean, you can look away for a second. You can go ahead and pull out the poop bag to clean up after them. And while you're doing that, they get into something. And you, like, out of the corner of your eye, you're like, are they eating something? And then they were eating something. You're like, what were you doing? And then you do that whole, and every single dog owner has done this. You throw your hand right down their throat and you're holding open their jaws, and you're reaching in and you're trying to find it. And you're like,
drop it.
And sometimes you're able to, and sometimes you're not. And it was weird. This is how bad it is, because I was walking by one of the public health departments in downtown Seattle earlier this morning with D'Artagnan, my dog. I got a dog a couple of years ago.
Oh, so that's why you have so much interest in this.
I know. This explains it. And we were within a block of the place, and I could have sworn he ate something. And I had this panic of, oh my God, what did you just do? But I guess now I know what symptoms to look for, because I looked at the flyer. It says the overdose symptoms in dogs is being unresponsive, inactive, or unusually tired, having a blank stare, stumbling. A lot of this stuff is just what you would see with a human, right, who might be overdosing on some of these drugs. Blue gums, pinpoint pupils, slowed or no breathing. Yeah, if there's no breathing, there's a bigger issue here to me that we're going to have to address. But it says you can give naloxone, including in needle form. It's safe for dogs. And they point out, when your dog is just like, again, a human, if you are suffering an opioid overdose, you stop breathing, but your heart is not stopping with the pumping. Like, the heart still pumps, you're just not breathing anymore. And so you have to do rescue breathing, and you can do it via the spray, which would go into the nostril of the dog, I believe, but they have needles that you can also inject, and they give you on this flyer a little map of the locations around the dog's leg or hips that you can inject, just so long as you're not going in the one danger zone where they say not to do it. And it teaches owners how to count normal respiration, saying that resting dogs typically breathe 10 to 35 times per minute, according to this flyer. And so if it's outside of that, there could be something wrong. And then on the second page, you get the diagrams, how to check for responsiveness, monitor the breathing, opening the airway, giving rescue breaths. And it tells owners to extend the dog's neck, seal their mouth over the animal's nose and mouth. You seal your mouth over their nose and mouth for small dogs, but usually just the nose, and give one breath every 2 to 3 seconds, according to these instructions. And if they don't resume breathing, you can administer the naloxone through their legs at a 90-degree angle or through one of the nostrils. It warns owners to continue the rescue breathing and to give another dose if they need after about 5 minutes. Now, I'm certainly glad we have the information out there should we ever need it, right? I have no problem with that. But this is where Seattle now stands. Not at prevention, not at enforcement, not at cleaning up our drug-ridden parks and sidewalks. I mean, where I found the flyer is about a block and a half, 2 blocks away from a doggy daycare center and a dog park that is completely unusable because of all of the open-air drug use and the homeless people all over the place. But this is where we stand. Not on addressing the issue, but normalizing the idea that we have to be trained to resuscitate a Labrador or a pug who happens to accidentally consume fentanyl that was left on the ground because of some homeless drug addict that we allow to just waste away on our streets. That's where we currently stand. For years, city leaders, county leaders, all Democrats have embraced something called harm reduction. And so they distribute drug paraphernalia while getting in the way of any kind of cleanup on our streets. Any kind of enforcement is viewed as some sort of like moral crisis. Like, we're going to criminalize addiction? Can't do that. The hell we can't. We absolutely can. Because in some cases, in many cases, perhaps even in most cases, that's the only way you're going to get some of these addicts to clean up, is to criminalize their behavior, which is already criminal. When your public health response includes illustrated instructions for giving Narcan to dogs, I would argue that's not compassion. That is more proof that we have, as a city and a county and as a state, failed to contain a crisis that Democrats allowed to hit record levels. We're not just battling addiction. We are battling the consequences of political choices that Democrats made, progressives made. And even when dogs need overdose kits to survive a walk in the park, when even dogs are the ones who need help, can we all at least acknowledge that something is profoundly broken here? Or are we supposed to pretend that this is normal? Well, it's well-intentioned. I agree. I think it's well-intentioned. I think they would like to see fewer dogs die from overdoses. Thank you, King County Public Health. I'd like to see that too. I'd also like to see fewer humans die. And you know what's a great way to see fewer people die from drug overdoses? Not making it easy for them to do drugs. Just throwing that out there, controversial as it is.
See, we need more leaders that have out of the box ideas like that.
You're just such an innovative thinker, Jason. They're all like, hey, we should hand out drug paraphernalia. And you're all like, we should stop doing drugs. I know, crazy.
It's a little counterintuitive, I know, but
it's sometimes though, the counterintuitive thinking does in fact work. Just throwing that out there as a possibility. And again, I'm the bad guy here, according to the left. I'm the bad guy here. City that is crawling with dogs, this is what we have to do. And I just like how their spokesperson was so nonchalant about it. It's like, oh, no, we have it there in case someone wants it. Okay, yeah, thanks. Got it. SeattleRed.com, we've got this story up. I hope you'll read it, and I hope you'll share it. We got to get this story out there. There's, especially for dog owners, and you don't have to be a dog owner to be interested in this. But if you know any dog owners, at least get this in front of them so they know the realities. Because, look, if you're not thinking about this, is the moment when your dog ends up accidentally consuming drugs that, and you're not even, in your head, you're like, what's going on with my dog? You're not even thinking about it. And this, by the way, is not just an issue in Seattle. I mean, we had a story at a Gold Bar, what was it, like 2 months ago, where a bunch of puppies were taken into one of the local fire departments. I think they ended up sending them to Monroe, I think, with what they thought were drug overdose symptoms. And it turns out they were, in fact, having drug overdose. And they end up getting, I think it was Narcan, and the dogs were saved. I think all of them were saved, thankfully. So this is not just happening in Seattle. It's happening all over the place. This is so truly depressing. Truly depressing. Oh, but they've got a cute little dog with a hypodermic needle instead of a bone in its mouth. A little Dalmatian-looking dog. And I'm sure they all, when they drew it, it's like, oh, it's so cute. Isn't it adorable? Is this adorable? And by the way, and just so we're all clear, as much as I understand one's connection to a dog, you shouldn't be allowed to have a dog and be homeless. I care about that dog. You might not care about yourself, and it's selfish to have a dog if you're homeless, especially if you're using that dog as a means to not go into shelter. Okay, I'll make it easy. We're going to take away your dog because that's abusive. Although we don't even take away kids from homeless people who live in camps. So we're definitely not going to take away any dogs. You want to take a cat? I don't care about them. Well, I don't like cats. What do you want?
They can survive in the wild better, I think, in any way. So
they don't need my help. They don't need any human's help.
Yeah. Independent.
You don't ever see cats with homeless people.
I've seen it.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Couldn't you just go with me? I was making a point to end the.
But it is much rarer. I will grant that.
No, I don't need you to grant me. I don't need your crumbs. You already ruined it. Push the button.
What's trending? Let's get political.
As we told you yesterday, the Democrats in the Senate on Monday, over the long weekend, they passed their millionaire tax. And then Bob Ferguson was to come out. And as we told you he was going to do, he would come out and talk to the media and pretend he still has reservations and says, we hope that things are going to change on the House side before I can actually support it. He's confident they're going to get it done. But again, just so we're all clear, in its current format, he doesn't support it.
If you make $1.2 million, if you're fortunate enough to be in that category, you're taxed on $200,000, right? The $200,000 above the $1 million.
Yeah, we know how this works. It doesn't mean that what you're doing is right.
It does not count the value of your home. I remain optimistic.
But it does count the value of your business, keeping in mind that pass-through businesses are hit by this, or pass-through business owners are hit by this. So he's trying to, cheat a little bit in that.
I think that we'll get there on the millionaire's tax. I do. Any bill I sign must send a significant percentage of the revenue back to Washington families and small business owners. We are not there yet, and we are still not close to being there.
And it's funny because, again, his office wrote this bill, but be that as it may, he's saying this right now. This is no different than what he said a few weeks ago or a couple months ago, leading into this legislative session. He said the same thing, and Democrats ignored him. So why does he think this is going to somehow change on the House side? It's all a scam. What the bill looks like at the end has already been determined. What you're seeing right now is nothing but politics. It's politics so we can say, don't worry, I got what I was able to get for you, the taxpayer. It's not going to impact you. Don't worry, we're only going after the uber wealthy, even though, frankly, it's not uber wealthy to have more than $1 million in Washington anymore. I wish that weren't the case, right? That would be amazing if that were still considered uber wealthy, but it's not. You're well off, there's no doubt. I'm not going to pretend that. But you're not uber wealthy.
You're not Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, it's just let's relax a little bit. Would he ever veto the bill?
Governor, if the changes aren't made, would you veto the millionaires?
Oh, I'm not going to get into a hypothetical. I mean,
it's not a hypothetical, okay? You're telling us right now the bill as it stands is not good enough for you. So if you're saying that, you're implying that you would veto it. And yet, when asked whether or not you're going to veto it, I'm not going to answer that question. So then what the heck was this whole thing for? What was the press conference? What was his message? We're a long way from a bill that I can support. Okay, does that mean you're going to veto it? Oh, well, that's a hypothetical. But you just said the bill is a long way. So the bill as is right now, you wouldn't veto it?
I think I've been pretty clear. I think where I've used the word must,
Critics have definitely suggested that this tax would prompt high earners and corporations to leave.
I've not seen evidence of that.
Well, then, because you're lying. You're just lying. We know that this is happening. We know as a matter of fact because they're telling us it's happening. We have concrete examples of it happening. What is he talking? It's so dishonest. And, God bless whomever this Como reporter is. Couldn't ask a follow-up?
Michelle Esteban.
Oh, of course. Michelle, you didn't come prepared with some you could have the most obvious one is Jeff Bezos. That's the easiest one that you can reach towards and use in your face. Like this.
I wasn't expecting you to dodge my question.
I mean, he's always just so blunt and honest when I ask him questions. And this whole idea, like it has to have a substantial amount of money going back or benefiting Washingtonians. Well, what does that mean? What's substantial? Well, I don't want to answer a hypothetical. Well, you're coming up with the metrics. What does that mean? Does half of it have to come back to the average Washingtonian? A quarter, 10%, 5%, 90%? Give us something. And he's proposed as an idea, I think he said 3 sales tax holidays, which means under these 3 days or, however many days per sales tax holiday they're talking about, you don't pay sales tax. That's not savings. You're still spending the money. I know what and it's sales tax. You wouldn't have to spend under $1,000 purchase. And so the best way to save money on a sales tax holiday is if you've got a massive purchase you're going to make, you would then hold off and make it on whatever that tax holiday is, right? Okay, that could actually be meaningful. If you're purchasing a new computer or a car or furniture, whatever it is, okay, then you do it on that Saturday or that Sunday or that Monday or whenever. Okay, you might actually save a few $100s, maybe even a few $1,000s, depending on what it is you're purchasing. But now they're basically saying, okay, we'll save you, $10. Don't do your grocery shopping on Friday. Do it on Saturday, and you'll save a few bucks when you do your Costco run and you buy, clothing at the Nordstrom or what. Okay, wow. Ugh. Colin Hathaway is the founder of Skylight Capital. He operates several small businesses and the largest residential roofing company in the state. He told Como TV, not too happy with how Bob Ferguson just answered some questions.
I think his response was baffling because the business community is thinking about it. We're seeing an overall vilification of business owners and a stymieing of people trying to create jobs.
Yeah, that's how it works. Welcome to Washington, sir. I shouldn't pick on him. He's clearly on the right side of this. And he's dealing with this just like so many other business owners are. And again, they pretend that this doesn't really impact anyone other than the quote-unquote millionaires. It's gonna impact a whole lot more people. You see Palantir just left Colorado. So they first left California because of the crazy high taxes. Then they went to Colorado and they announced like last night in a tweet, peace out. We're going to Miami. And the Democrats in Colorado who run things are like, this caught us off guard. And maybe the timing of the announcement did, but why are you like shocked when businesses say they're going to go to places that actually want them there, that don't want to nickel and dime them to death, that want them to succeed because they know a business that succeeds means people succeed, the workers succeed. And this is still relatively rare, right? You're not going to get a ton of these decisions being made, but you'll certainly see some, and you'll most definitely see a whole lot of expansion elsewhere. Boeing moving some of their engineering jobs to South Carolina, and we covered that, 2 weeks ago? You don't think that that's going to happen more so, and it's not going to be expanded from Microsoft or Amazon? We talked to Pedro Dominguez yesterday, an AI pioneer. This is a guy who's well connected to not just the startup companies, but just big tech here. And even he's saying, yeah, a lot of people thought Bellevue was going to benefit from this, and they're obviously benefiting in the short term, but you're harming Bellevue as well. And Bellevue knows this, by the way. They realize what's going on is going to impact them. And if you're a business in Spokane, what's to stop you from just setting up shop in Coeur d'Alene? You can still live in Spokane or the Spokane
it's
Valley.
Stone's throw away.
It's what? What was the drive?
It's like a half an hour.
20 minutes,
yeah.
30 minutes to get to Coeur d'Alene. Like, it's not that far. And they've got really great froyo there.
Mm-hmm.
With Charlie Kirk's face on it.
Yep.
Did you see that story?
I did.
There's a froyo place that got death threats because it had Charlie Kirk's face on its cups of froyo. And they gave a percentage of the proceeds to Turning Point. So naturally, they got death threats. That makes sense. 1-800-465-8770 for your text. The Sunset Auto family are loyal supporters of Seattle Red and want you to know every qualifying new and used vehicle comes with oil changes for life. You get up to 5 a year. It's going to save you thousands of dollars over the lifetime of your vehicle. So when you're ready for your next car or truck, be sure to visit our friends at the Sunset Auto family in Auburn or Sumner. Online, sunsetautofamily.com. When we come back, the Seattle Times had a really interesting story. And by interesting, I mean incredibly stupid. And we're going to mock it when we come back. Advice on how to talk to your kids about ICE activity. Not activity on the ice, but ICE, immigration. Yeah.
Advice.
Wink, wink. It's a Jason Rantz Show.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Every season is a little bit different here in Washington, but I'll tell you what, the amount of rain never seems to change in the winter, and we have sure gotten a ton of it this season. All that rain, all that water, it's all got to go somewhere. And if it makes its way into your crawl space, that's when it can create all sorts of problems, including real structural damage, which could really affect your home. But more importantly, for the health of your family, the water in that crawl space could create toxic mold, and that has serious health repercussions. Thankfully, we have Crawl Pros. They can come in and keep your crawl space dry, install a sump pump and drainage, and reroute that water back out and away from your home. They'll also take care of any mold that may have been created. Don't take the risk. It's too important. The best way to learn if you have any water is to ask Crawl Pros to visit your home and inspect your crawl space for free. Crawl Pros will go where you don't want to. So if you're worried about water damage, mold, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com.
Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $32.99, plus 2 times points at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Limits apply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Every business starts with an idea. With smart business buying from Amazon Business, get everything you need to grow in one familiar place. From office supplies to IT essentials and maintenance tools. Ready to bring your visions to life? Learn how at AmazonBusiness.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
This hour of the Jason Rantz Show is brought to you by General Transmission Repair.
Welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I know there are a lot of concerned parents out there, and as someone who's got a son of my own that's a pet, I'm very sympathetic to what it is you go through as a parent every day. Like, you know, I'm worried to death about my little guy. He's at daycare right now, just like a lot of your kids are. And I know that he is struggling to comprehend, especially since my son is, in fact, an illegal immigrant from Mexico, trying to figure out why all these brown-skinned people are being terrorized by ICE. Thankfully, we've got the Seattle Times. You know, there are earnest parenting guides, and then there's whatever the Seattle Times just published. This is the title, Talking to Your Kids About ICE Activity, Experts Share 6 Tips. First of all, why are you talking to your kids about ICE activity? Unless you've got like a 16-year-old kid, why are you terrorizing your 7-year-old about this? He or she's not asking about it. I guarantee you. And if they are, just know that it's because their teachers are probably liberal radicals who are infecting their minds with this nonsense. Now, the premise of this article in the Seattle Times is that parents have to process immigration enforcement with their children in the same category or in the same way as having conversations about the birds and the bees or gun violence. Like, this is just one of those things that you have to do. And this is activist journalism disguised as like talk therapy. It's really awful. Ryan Wynn is the writer. Says, in light of President Donald Trump's immigration enforcement crackdown in Minneapolis and beyond, parents are now faced with helping their children make sense of distressing images and reports of detentions, family separations, and violence against protesters. There's at no point in this article does it say they have to have a conversation about their kids about how criminal illegal immigrants came into this country so easily by the millions and then committed acts like rape and murder, drug dealing, car theft, just running the gamut. That part's not in this. And there's no advice about talking to your kid about the importance of borders. But that's not a shock to anyone because it is the Seattle Times. But apparently that's the standard parenting hurdle is to have to talk to them about this. And it's kind of, it is funny. I'm going to say, I did find myself giggling while reading through this story, which is available right now, or at least my commentary on it at seattlered.com. And it quotes a therapist named Christina Alexander, who does give you a good bit of advice here. I mean this sincerely. They say, don't engage in, quote, doom scrolling on the phone in the morning right before helping your kids get dressed and packed up for school or right before you have to have a conversation with them about something else, right? Just like, don't go into any kind of interaction with your kid or just in life having just doom scrolled for 3 hours looking at all these crazy images that are just feeding into your paranoia. So that's actually good advice. And I would argue, though, at the same time, if you are so emotionally dysregulated over ICE that you need like a breathing exercise before going about your day, before making your breakfast, the problem might not be ICE. It might just be you. There is a little bit of that. Just a little bit of that. They say when you're having your conversation about ICE and you're trying to indoctrinate your child to be a crazy adult, they say have smaller, more bite-sized conversations so that the children can actually process what it is that you're saying. And I'm not entirely sure because they don't tell you what the conversation should be. We just have this like more general take. If you're talking to them about ICE, what would the bite-sized conversations be? That we deport people who violate immigration law? That seems like a worthwhile conversation that they're not going to have. What this is intended to do is talk to your kid about the trauma you're inventing for them, that you're pretending that they're suffering from when they hear about ICE raids that capture murderers and rapists and drug dealers that the Seattle Times will then repackage as a Seattle dad or a Spokane mom being deported. I think that's how this article is supposed to be read. And they offer a push to have parents creating a safety plan, which I thought was kind of interesting, a safety plan. Because this entire article up until this point was really about how you as a parent have to have a conversation with your kid about what they might be seeing from ICE on TV or something or on social media. But then it makes it sound like what they're really trying to do is talk now to parents who are in this country illegally, who are criminal illegal immigrants who might be deported. And they quote a child therapist named Harmony who says, "Let them know what might happen using simple, honest language." And if by simple and honest we mean telling children that the country enforces its laws, okay, fine, I'm not going to mock that. But I think what they mean is implying that the ICE agents are lurking outside of soccer practice. That's something else that you should probably not tell your kids because it's not true. And I'm still waiting for the local example or even national example outside of the one time where they were going after a violent criminal. Has any ICE agent even gone onto a campus anywhere? Did we miss that story? It's got to have happened once.
I feel like if it did happen, that would be hard to miss.
But they keep on talking about it as if it is happening. Now, here's the most embarrassing part about this Seattle Times article. The same political ecosystem that demands compassion for illegal immigrants also demands that we avert our eyes from the crimes some of them commit. Crimes that could end up harming the very kids you're offering advice to in this Seattle Times article. Does no one note the irony of that? Does no one think that that's maybe a little bit inappropriate or just kind of weird? I think it's weird. Perhaps instead of teaching kids that immigration enforcement is somehow oppressive, how about you teach them why the borders exist to begin with and how we can't really have a country or an identity as a country without borders? Nations control entry. That's how this works. And the laws are supposed to apply equally. So if you're coming into this country illegally, it's kind of in the phrase, illegally, we should be applying the law. This is so unbelievable, but I certainly agree that there are a lot of parents out there who need help from a therapist. I will say that. A lot of Seattle Times readers, frankly, regardless of whether or not their parents, could probably use some mental health assistance. I just wouldn't go to the Seattle Times for it, or probably none of the people who are quoted in this article.
It'll only make it worse.
Probably. It definitely is going to make it worse. And of course, at the same time, we're still having this bigger conversation about immigration enforcement. I think people kind of forgot we do have a partial government shutdown right now. And Dana Perino had the best line, and I thought of you, Jackson, because she quotes your favorite TV show in talking about what this shutdown actually is.
It's like the Seinfeld shutdown. Like, what is this about? It is a shutdown about nothing. 6 weeks ago, there was another shutdown. It was also about nothing. And what's happened, once again, is that the Democrats have lied to their base. Republicans do it too. But in this case, the Democrats are saying, yeah, they're going to abolish ICE. And so we're going to shut down the government. What did they do? They shut down TSA and FEMA, and then they hopped on planes and went to Europe. And they're not going to be in town this week. And so if you're somebody who works for TSA or if you work at FEMA, you have to worry once again, like, am I going to get paid? What time should I show up? Do I have to start driving? Remember those stories? How did this end last time?
And the Democrats, because they have no respect for the American people. I saw a tweet last night as I was going home from, I think it was the House Democrats, or might have just been the Democrats' X account, calling this a Republican government shutdown. Like, come on, really? And they post that stuff because they get away with it because left-wing media doesn't point out the obvious. If you're an actual journalist, shouldn't you, even if you're a liberal journalist, point out the lie there? Because it does not do your side any favors to just flat out lie like this. And of course, the president is pointing out the obvious. It's not a Republican shutdown.
This is a Democrat shutdown. This has nothing to do with Republicans. Republicans. This is a Democrat shutdown. They're upset that the crime numbers are so good. They're very unhappy that the crime numbers are so good.
And, that is a funny way to reframe this, because they obviously are upset that everything they did that was supposedly about reforming policing and the criminal justice system led to surges in crime across pretty much every single category. And then Donald Trump comes in and literally just says, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Stop it. Arrest people in this country illegally. Police departments start enforcing the law again. Of course, there were, in some cases, many cases, Democrats being forced into walking back their reforms. They started implementing this again. And again, the big national conversation, or at least the national talking point from the White House was, yeah, we're going after the lawlessness. And then, bam, wouldn't you know it, crime starts to dip. Crime starts to dip, and in some places to record lows. And all of the talking points just kind of floated away. We were told that D.C. was going to be a mess and that the president wasn't even going after the true areas of high crime in D.C. What happened to that story? Wasn't that their big talker for like a week and a half and then just went away? It's weird how they just kind of abandoned some of their talking points. In fact, just 4 weeks ago, the big conversation, the big talking point from the left, affordability, right? And the president, I think he mishandled it at first because he wanted to just not talk about it. But when you've got good economic news, you should absolutely talk about it. Now, of course, when he said the affordability hoax, he was clearly talking about the talking point from the left that we have an affordability problem to the degree that they claimed, which we don't. For some, absolutely. I mean, economically, they're two different issues, right? How you feel personally and what the economy says it's doing on paper. And there's a point in which there's a separation. You feel, and sometimes it's parallel. You don't feel comfortable, and yet on paper, the economy is doing really strong. But at some point, they converge, and you're all like, ooh, I'm doing really well. And the economy's doing really, really well. I was doing an interview with my friend John Phillips out of Los Angeles on his radio show. And we were talking about this issue. And the president, on affordability and even on immigration, he has time on his side. For everyone right now who's truly upset about the direction of ICE, they're too aggressive. Even if you like what he's doing in a more general sense of enforcing the law, you might say, okay, he's a little bit too aggressive. This is not going to be the biggest issue in November. And we've got more polling out. The president's team, Susie Wiles, hosted a meeting on Capitol Hill with higher-ranking Republican officials. Mark Halperin had a tweet about it. And they went over what the polling suggests, and they actually said, focused on your success at the border is not resonating with people. Which kind of makes sense, because what resonates is when you feel something. When you don't feel something, it's harder to make that case, even if it shows success. And he says the number one issue, according to all the polls that we're doing and all the people that we're talking to, it's the economy. And what resonates is when you say you're going to go after out-of-control spending, when you're going to tackle prices that everyone is personally impacted by. And he had all these long lists. Everyone was taking notes and everything. And affordability as an issue, the reason why Democrats stopped talking about it is because it's not going to help them. Because when they tell you it's so expensive to get groceries, they know that you can immediately find out whether or not they're telling the truth. And there's no doubt some prices are up. Ground beef, for example, is up. Although, as I've said many times, this has nothing to do with politics in either direction, frankly. But eggs are down dramatically. When they were super high, Democrats pretended otherwise. When they started to come down, but they were still higher than normal, when they weren't in office or in the White House, it was like, oh, it's outrageous. Now it's really cheap again, and they're not saying anything. Gas prices at very, very, very low lows outside of Washington. So people are experiencing this, but time is on their side. Every day that goes by, the economy gets stronger. Your wages increase, and you start to feel it more because inflation has been coming down, cooling off dramatically. You've got April coming up. What's happening in April that people are going to expect?
Tax returns.
Exactly. They're going to get tax refunds that are larger than what they anticipated, and the president's going to be able to take credit for that. And so the more time goes by, it's going to be easier for them to make that point. That's why they're not talking about affordability on the left anymore. Isn't it weird? It was the one word they kept using over and over and over again. And then all of a sudden it went away. 1-800-465-8770 for your texts. 1-800-465-8770. We come back, Stephen Colbert realizing that his contract's up. What does he care in just a few months? He went to war with his bosses after they called him a liar. He's still lying. And Brendan Carr is now speaking out, FCC commissioner. We'll have that and so much more when we return on the Jason Rantz Show.
Thanks for calling CM Heating.
Aren't you the company that gives away free furnaces?
That's us. Buy a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system and the furnace is free.
Wow.
Yeah, and our home comfort advisors are tax credit and rebate specialists, so they'll handle the rebate for you.
Go to CM Heating for better comfort, lower bills, and a free furnace you'll love for years. Get your free estimate for furnace replacement at cmheating.com. And remember, for furnaces, fireplaces, hot water, and total home comfort, including electrical,
There's no beating CM Heating.
Spring is right around the corner, but the perfect time to start your outdoor project is right now. Natural Design Landscaping has been serving Seattle and the East Side for nearly 30 years. They design, build, and maintain stunning outdoor spaces, from full makeovers to weekly maintenance. Beat the spring rush and get your yard project started today. Mention Seattle Red and get 10% off your first service. Visit naturaldesignlandscape.com to schedule your consultation. Natural Design Landscaping, let's build something wonderful together.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Let's just be really simple, no fluff whatsoever. If you are shopping for a new Chevy in the state of Washington, there's a reason there's one dealership that keeps finishing number one year after year. That's Sunset Chevrolet. In 2025, Sunset Chevrolet finished as the top Chevy dealership in the entire state by sales volume. And that didn't happen by luck. It happened because customers kept coming back. You see, they offer warranty protection for life, oil changes for life, a massive inventory, a team that treats customers like people instead of transactions that they're hounding. And what most dealers aren't going to say out loud is that Chevy pricing is pretty much the same everywhere because MSRP is MSRP. The difference isn't the vehicle. It's what happens after the sale. Sunset Auto Family keeps winning because of that. That's why customers keep choosing them. So if you're already going to buy a Chevy, why wouldn't you buy it from the dealership more Washington drivers trust than any other? Sunset Chevrolet in Sumner. You just get more at Sunset, and people do like that. Online, sunsetautofamily.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You know the one question that guys hate to have asked of them by their wives, Nick?
I can take a good guess.
I know you know 100 of them. This is the worst one. Do these jeans make my butt look big?
Whoa.
Can't answer that one, right? What I've noticed is whenever you ask me questions like that, I just simply say, oh, I don't know. What do the doctors at Longevity Medical Clinic say?
Well, the doctors at Longevity Medical Clinic would tell me that my butt looks great in those jeans now that my hormones are balanced.
What'd they do? Did they give you something to bring your weight down?
No, just a result of having my hormones balanced caused me to lose weight. Who would have known? I had no idea that would be a result of it.
So that's good. So the answer is you look great. You're beautiful.
I feel great. I look great.
Yeah.
And I know it.
I've also noticed that your testosterone makes you a little feistier than you normally are, as my beautiful Greek wife.
I might be small, but I have a loud bark.
Yes, you do. Do what Nick and I have done. Take a free health analysis at longevitymedicalclinic.com.
You're listening to the Jason Rantz Show here on Seattle Red 770 AM. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. I think people forgot that Stephen Colbert's contract is done at the end of this current term. I think he's done 2 months, 3 months, something like that. And that means, from his perspective, he can go to war with the network because what are they going to? What does he care?
He's the employee that submitted his 2 weeks notice.
Yeah, it's just he's now going to get away with anything he thinks. Up to a point, he's probably right. And so last night he threw a temper tantrum after CBS had essentially called him out for lying about the so-called censorship of James Tallarico, which he was not censored at all. They made a choice not to invite on Jasmine Crockett, who also came out yesterday and said, yeah, the federal government did. And by the way, Jasmine Crockett, if she could say Trump censored this show, she would say it. But she came out and said, no, there was no censorship. They called me today and they said that they would have to have a conversation about whether or not they would have me on the show for equal time. She didn't ask for equal time, by the way. She, in fact, yesterday said she didn't really plan to ask for that because she had to stay in Texas to actually campaign and get votes. So she didn't. The only way equal time applies is if the person asks for it. You don't have to be proactive and ask someone to join for equal time. So Colbert just got really upset.
I said my piece last night. We made some jokes. It's what they pay me for.
What jokes?
And I was ready to let the whole thing go. Until a few hours ago, when my group chat blowed up because without ever talking to me, the corporation put out this press release.
And by the way, without talking to me, did you tell them you were going to lie on television about what had happened? They don't have to run statements by you. You lied. They got called out for it, and so they needed to clean up your mess. And that's what it was, which is why Brendan Carr, the FCC commissioner, just ripped the media because they just jumped in. And we said this yesterday. They immediately determined that the storyline was going to be Donald Trump censored, Brendan Carr censored CBS News or the late night show, which is not what happened. And anyone who has even a little bit of an inkling as to what equal time actually is, and maybe this is why cable news, because it doesn't apply to cable news, the reason why maybe they just jumped with it, not just because they wanted to demonize Trump, they always want to do that, but they don't know how equal time works. We do on this show, which is why I knew this was a lie from the media and from Colbert the second we heard it.
You had a Democrat candidate who understood the way that the news media works. And he took advantage of all of your sort of prior conceptions to run a hoax, apparently for the purpose of raising money and getting clicks. And the news media played right into it. I think yesterday was a perfect encapsulation of why the American people have more trust in gas station sushi than they do in the national news media.
Good line.
And this was very plainly an effort ginned up to get clicks and to raise money. And you guys ate it up like slop. And when it was pointed out that the facts were completely different than what the fake news media was running with, nobody did like an about face and did a fact correction. They just pivoted and moved away. And again, I think this is why the American people simply don't trust the news media anymore.
And it was, I'm assuming they had Caitlin Collins from CNN on last night as a direct result of all of this. I don't know if she was maybe she was pre-booked. I don't know. But obviously this came up. And she made a comment that, again, is a reflection, I think, of not truly understanding the equal time clause and how it's been used.
And I think it's actually a really
shut up, audience. I'm trying to listen to her.
Because I think that you've seen some people on the right cheering this and saying, well, that's what we want Brendan Carr to do. I think that they don't want a Democratic administration saying that right-wing talk radio must give equal time to Democrats or to...
Okay. Except we literally do want that from Democrats because Democrats won't come on the show. Again, she doesn't understand how this is working. And maybe because you got to talk really quickly and dumb everything down for people who don't follow this stuff. Here's how equal time would work. And I wish that a Democrat would do this because we reach out to Democrats all the time to come on the show and they don't even get back to us because they know they're not going to get an easy interview. Someone comes on who's, let's say Michael Baumgartner, who's up for re-election in the next year. He's running up against whomever the Democrat is going to be. We don't have to invite the Democrat to come on after we talk to Michael Baumgartner, but they could reach out to us and say, we demand equal time. Awesome. Come on over. Equal time does not mean I give them the exact same time slot that we previously did. And it also doesn't mean that we go easy on them. We can ask whatever questions we want. We reach out to every single Democrat, pretty much every single Democrat, to come on when they're running for re-election or when there's a news issue we call them out on and we don't. They choose not to come on. So the law was in place for decades. This was in place and enforced under the Biden administration. And we've received emails, ironically, from conservatives who have used the whole equal time to come on the show. And as much as I'm against equal time as a concept, I actually don't like it. I would be totally okay if Democrats wanted to use it. I would love to ask tough questions of Democrats, but they're not going to use it. They're never going to come out and say, you know what, I demand to do equal time on the Jason Rantz Show as a Democrat. They'll never do that because it's not worth it to them.
They can't even wrap their heads around the concept that we're perfectly willing to debate the other side.
Exactly. Now, conservatives would probably use it more often on liberal shows because they don't mind having debates so long as they're in good faith, but they'll defend themselves. That's why sometimes conservatives will go on to The View or onto MS Now or CNN. I'm one of them. I go on CNN knowing that they're going to yell at me for my conservative views and try to pin me down. And I'm totally happy to, as long as the arguments are in good faith or the questions are in good faith, I'm happy to debate. Even when they're not in good faith, I'm happy to debate it. It's the other way around that they don't want it. So this whole, Republicans would hate equal time. We've been dealing with equal time this entire time. And I'm okay with it if it's going to truly be enforced. I would love a Democrat to use that. It's the Jason Rantz Show.
This month, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Benjamin Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G service. What's up with that? Ben Franklin wasn't even a president. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be in business with an American wireless company that supports our vets in a big way and keeps all their customer service in this country. That's important. And you'll be on the same towers the big carriers use, so you'll get the same 5G service without the inflated price. So hang on to your Benjamins and switch to Pure Talk for a Jackson and a Lincoln. No contract, no hidden fees. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll get 50% off your first month when you switch. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, for an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. You know, an honest person might make a mistake on their tax return, and it's through no fault of their own, just because they don't understand the process, and that's where your expertise comes in.
Unfortunately, that does occur. We've had cases where the taxpayers decided, hey, I'm just going to handle it on my own, and then they get right in a pickle. They've done things they shouldn't have done, said things they shouldn't have said. Hey, the biggest thing is we all have an ego, right, Jason? We all go, oh, I can do it. I can handle it myself. No problem. Folks, really, you need to have help.
I have the biggest ego, but I'm smart enough to realize that if the IRS ever targeted me, I would need you to help me, and I would not ever think about taking them on myself.
Well, I'm really glad you think that way. That's the adult way to think.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, then call Greg Nunn. None Better Tax Resolution, 425-947-1967, or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-230-2777.
Seattle Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastlake, 33 BU Seattle.
A possible new angle in the search for Nancy Guthrie. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. As polygraph testing has been going on at the Pima County Sheriff's Office.
It is unclear at this point how many individuals have been tested or their identities. And the Sheriff's Office will not confirm at this point that the testing is related to the Guthrie case. But significantly, they did not deny that either.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt in Tucson. The search for the 84-year-old mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie is in its third week. Yesterday, authorities said DNA testing of a glove found near the scene did not match any profile in the FBI's database. 8 skiers are dead. 1 is missing after an avalanche in the Sierra Nevada mountains near Lake Tahoe.
An avalanche warning went into effect yesterday morning as the group of 15 4 guides and 11 skiers were finishing up a 3-day skiing expedition near Castle Peak, a popular backcountry ski area near the city of Truckee in Lake Tahoe. As the group was leaving, police say one of the skiers yelled avalanche, and it all came tumbling down, burying the 9 women and 6 men in a slide described as a football field in length.
Fox's Claudia Cowan in Sausalito. 6 from the guided tour were rescued 6 hours after the avalanche hit as a monster winter storm pummeled the West Coast. Forecasters warning of a possible winter storm impacting the Midwest and Northeast later this week and into the weekend.
We could see a widespread 3 to 5 inches up into Wisconsin as well as into Minnesota to the Northeast as the system rolls through. We could see another 3 to 5 inches for areas close to Boston and even farther up north into those higher elevations too.
Fox Weather's Bane Frody, who says there's a potential that the Northeast could have a blockbuster snowstorm, but a number of factors need to line up for that to happen. America is listening to Fox News.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Coach! The yellow light! God, I'm walking here!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are here live on Seattle Red 770 AM. We're streaming live on SeattleRed.com, on YouTube, Seattle Red app, everywhere. We got a lot to get to this hour, including Keith Swank, Pierce County Sheriff. The local socialists are coming for him. He's not going to put up with it. He'll explain. But first, we got the first State of the City address from the new mayor of Seattle. It was not great. That's what's trending.
What's trending? The mayor's office.
The general consensus has been it was really light on policy, but her performance, like her delivery, her tone was fine. And in fairness to her on the policy stuff, she's only been in office for like a day and a half. And the idea that you give a State of the City address as a mayor who's only been in office for minutes seems wrong to me. Do that kind of speech. I know you're traditionally supposed to do it in February. Why don't you do that speech? Wait till May. Get a few months under your belt.
Even Trump's joint address to Congress, whatever, last year, that was a little later than normal, I think.
Yeah,
Wasn't it
I mean, the State of the Union is a little bit later than normal.
Yeah, that's true.
Or by almost a month, right?
Yeah.
So I just like, I'm going to give her a little bit of slack, but what you heard was a lot about how she's going to tackle homelessness by creating more, housing and shelter space. But if you're a business owner right now impacted by the homelessness, you're like, can you talk about me as a small business owner? So she expressed some support for the small biz community.
The Office of Economic Development's Small Business Expediting Program is working to help cut red tape for small businesses across the city. And we are offering more support for small businesses to address property damage and security issues through the Back to Business Fund.
Okay. So you got a bunch of programs that have existed already, and you're just going to lean on those programs to do more of the same, which if you're the owner of a restaurant like Edward, speaking to Como, is like, yeah, y'all been saying you're going to help forever, and y'all haven't helped at all.
What does that mean when you said 100% lack of support from the city?
Well, they just haven't helped us. Customers are scared. They've told me they are literally scared to walk down the street and come to my business. As far as what I would like to see from the mayor is I would like to see some crime prevention. I'd like to see some cleaning up of the streets, making people feel safe again. I'm very optimistic. I hope Katie can help small business and help turn around the city.
She's not going to. The homelessness situation, and while I don't completely blame her for this because, as I said, she's not been in office very long, it's hard to ignore the fact that it's gotten so dramatically worse in just the month she's been in office. Like, dramatically worse.
Mondani, too, in New York.
100%. And I was just in New York. I'll be back next week, and then again in a week out. Jeez, too much New York. I'm already tired from the flight. I haven't even taken it yet. But yeah, that's the reality. Erin Goodman's with the Soto Business Improvement Area. She's also spoke with Como.
I find her approach very measured. She's taking the time to really evaluate and not make very rapid decisions, and I appreciate that.
I like Erin, friend of the show. You could tell her response was very measured and intentionally not trying to say anything
very diplomatic
that might harm the relationship she has with this new mayor, which I understand where she's coming from. I get that, but oof. You can be measured, right? There's no problem. I like measured responses. I like thoughtful responses. But if you're so measured and thoughtful to the point where you're literally not doing anything right now, which is why the situation is getting worse, I'd rather you just act quickly and then clean up the mess afterward. Just do something now. Get it done. And as I go pick up my dog later tonight, I'm going to have to walk past way more homeless people than have been there in literally just the last month. There's now tents everywhere on the route that I go. Open air drug dealing, open air drug use. And it's so much so, it's so in the open, and there's so much of it happening, I can't even safely take photos or videos, which I can normally kind of discreetly do. I can't do it here because there's way too many people out. And I don't want to get stabbed in the face.
See, don't you have a newfound appreciation for Bruce Harrell?
I was always consistent with Bruce Harrell. He did some good, but he was too lazy. He would do some good, then he would get scared of the pushback, so he wouldn't do anything. So you would take 2 steps forward, then 1 step back. I don't like that. I want to take 10 steps forward and just stay there for a bit. Just like kind of live in that world. But he didn't want to do that. And we've got a new mayor who is a socialist, who's very far to the left. I think she'll course correct some of those views because I think you find yourself in a position like she is where she doesn't have any experience, right? She's going to, just from a practical standpoint, she's going to have to course correct a little bit. And I expect that's going to happen. But we still expect her to be an ideologue. She's good people. Oh, gee, thanks. That's very helpful. We want more jobs. Yeah, but if the person who says they want more jobs is by destroying big business and then redistributing the wealth to some commune to create some farm of drug dealers downtown, that's not really alignment. Like, we both want what's best for the city. Okay, well, one side is right on this. The other one is not going to help the city at all. So I don't care that you're quote unquote aligned. Just stop that. It's just so ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous. And instead of being focused on what actually matters, What do you got going on right now at the Seattle City Council? You know what they're doing? They're moving to get even more aligned with the radical left in pushing back against ICE. They just voted 8-0 to approve a bill that limits the sharing of personal information for federal immigration enforcement. It was sponsored by Maritza Rivera, the one who talks so indescribably annoying, and I don't even know how to express how annoying it is, nor do I really know how to describe her voice, other than let me just play it. That right there, I don't know. It's like this overpronunciation of every single word, but with an up inflection at the same.
She kind of sounds like Janet Yellen.
Is that what's? Let's listen. Here's why she proposed the ordinance.
I know that we are all struggling to find ways to protect our immigrant residents, to keep our city safe, and to maintain calm as federal officials continue their brutality and cruelty against our immigrant neighbors.
Oh God! And you know what? She was reading that, wasn't she?
Yeah.
It sounded like she was reading off of a script. And it almost sounded like she was being held hostage, perhaps by an illegal immigrant. People don't talk, but this is what she's focused on. Yeah, be more anti-ICE, yeah. More and more homeless people. Do the performative politics. That's really going to help the city. Ugh. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending? Let's get political.
Is this really political, though? It could be, I suppose.
I guess. Everything's political.
Or you could just say you made a mistake and didn't mean to click that. You could. It's okay.
Well, it's not that I didn't mean to, but could I have picked a better one? Sure.
Isn't this a story about commuting?
So
you did make a mistake.
Well, yeah, I thought we were on a different one.
Which story did you think we were on?
I thought we were on the one about the Washington House bill and ICE, but never mind.
Well, because I combined the two.
Oh, okay. You mostly talked about Seattle, so I thought you were going to...
Okay, but it's fine. No, I want to... Should we redo that?
Yeah, sure.
Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending on the road?
Okay, that made more sense.
Yeah, I had it ready. It just wasn't on the same page.
Of this show. Apparently we don't. Caro Salmon says, driving in Western Washington can feel like a nightmare. That's a stellar lead. But for many commuters, it's still the price they pay for convenience and comfort. Now, can you make sense of those two sentences? Driving is a nightmare, but it's the price you pay for convenience. Well, it's not convenient to get to work if you're stuck in traffic, guys.
Maybe they should have said comfort, maybe, or something.
Comfort, okay, fine. I get to a degree. Kim, who commutes from West Seattle, said, it's a short drive. And also, there's no bus or mass transit where I am. And so she drives into downtown Seattle. There's another one who said, I feel the most comfortable in my car. This is someone from Tacoma. Now, the reason why they're talking about this is the article gets into the literal cost of commuting around Western Washington. And it's a matter of, like I said, the literal cost. How much is this costing you to get into your car, buying gas? The time that you're stuck in the car comes with time you're not being efficient at work, for example. But there's also the time that you're spending in car that is just taking away from your life. And you have to weigh the two costs here. And the reason why this matters is there are a lot of folks who are saying to themselves, am I willing to spend more money to live closer to my job in, say, downtown Tacoma or downtown Seattle or downtown Spokane or wherever it is? Am I willing to spend more and maybe have less space so that I don't have to be stuck in the car driving for 45 minutes to an hour and a half each and every way? Or am I okay spending more time in the car because I get a cheaper home or apartment or condo, whatever it is you're living, outside of that sort of 15, 20-minute commute, which is probably seen as the most ideal if you're going to have to commute. Like my commute in the morning, if I'm taking the bus, is maybe 15 minutes. If I'm driving, and I drive sometimes and I take the bus sometimes, kind of depends on what my schedule is. If I'm driving, it's 6 minutes to get to the office. And I pay a price for that because my apartment rent is high. It's not a huge space. It's reasonable. I live alone. So, it's fine for me. But I don't want to spend an hour in traffic. Jake Skorheim from our sister station, he lives in Snohomish County. And he gets into the office. He has a nice space. It's a big home. He's got a large family of MAGA kids and a MAGA wife. And he gets here, and I can see he's already exhausted from the commute. Or I can see him rage tweeting videos about the traffic he's stuck in. And sometimes it's taking him, granted, you've got the I-5 mess right now, but even without that, it was taking him like an hour to get. I don't want to deal with that. But I can get where he lives, I can get a great deal on a home. I easily get a great deal. And I don't want to do that. And so there's a trade-off. And they're going through this, and they don't really give you all that much hard data here in this article. It was just an interesting way that people to talk about how people are thinking about the trade-off. And it's one of those articles where it's a little bit maddening because you don't really get any kind of meaningful data that you can come to a conclusion on because everyone's different.
And their only conclusion was what we already know. They're like, well, it's cheaper to take transit, but some people prefer the comfort of their car.
Yeah, I mean, we already get that. And what was the point of this article? I found it's funny because, and I don't want to diss Caro 7 on this because I found it interesting, but I also didn't know what the point was. And I still don't really know what the point was, and I'm talking about it, which is probably bad radio. What is the most amount of time? Because what's your commute? 30 minutes-ish?
Yeah, it just varies. It can be anywhere from like a little over 20 to 35.
Yeah, but let's just go with 30 for the sake of argument. Now, would you love it if that were cut in half?
Sure.
Yeah, of course. But then you would have to live much closer to the office in Seattle, which means you're spending a whole lot more on the apartment that you're living. Although, I don't know, Issaquah's not crazy cheap. But because you're poor, where you're staying is probably relatively cheap. I'm kidding. He's not poor. He's independently wealthy, and he gets all upset every time I point that out, which is why I point it out all the time. He doesn't want his fiancée to find out, and she listens. She knows. What?
She's not listening right now, though. So
okay, so we could totally
we're
be
safe.
more
She's at a
honest.
work thing.
But what's the most you'd be willing to travel if you got a good deal on an apartment that you love or a house that you love or whatever it is? It's large, and whatever your budget would be for a mortgage or rent, you're able to get it. It's like your dream place. What's the point where it stops becoming the dream place based solely on the commute?
Maybe 45 minutes.
That's not a lot.
No, I know. After that, I'm out.
Right? Yeah.
Sorry.
But there are other people who are saying to themselves, oh, I'll do 90 minutes. I'll do an hour. Because for me, 45 minutes is too long. I do not want to be in traffic for 45 minutes 2 times a day.
Yeah, and for it to be even like 45 minutes, I'd have to be really blown away.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, just for the sake of argument, it is the dream place. For you, it's different. That's why these kinds of articles are a little bit maddening. Because for me, 15 minutes is as much as I'm willing to spend in traffic. That's it. Unlike you, you're not all that important. You don't have stuff going on. I've got places to be. I've got things to do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got to do?
Nothing.
Exactly. Go home and watch Seinfeld reruns on Netflix. I've got to go home and write something and then go to the TV studio.
But my fiance misses me when I'm not home.
Does she, though? I would argue the reason why she's your fiance right now is because she hasn't had to spend that much time with you. It's just the right amount of time to not be bored by you. That's what keeps marriages together.
I guess every healthy relationship needs a buffer zone, I suppose. So.
Whatever that is. And everyone's a little bit different. And it sounds like you're needy and she's not. Or are you saying she's needy and you're not?
Yeah, the second one.
That one. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending in Pierce County?
A little over 500 people in Pierce County, although we're not certain they're all from Pierce County, have signed a petition demanding that the Pierce County Library System cancel a bunch of events, monthly events, hosted by Sheriff Keith Swank as he attempts to talk to folks in the community. It's part of his job. But a bunch of socialist activists with the Democratic Socialists of America, the Tacoma Pierce County chapter, they put out a petition saying he shouldn't be allowed to speak there because they don't like some of the things he has said, which they say include, quote, that he wants to work collaboratively with ICE in spite of it being against state law, and has made bigoted comments about trans people and questioned whether or not they should be stripped of constitutional rights. Now, they haven't come out and said whether or not they want to ban books at the library that they disagree with, but maybe that's coming next. Joining me on the line is Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank. Sheriff, welcome back.
Thank you.
So it would be clearly unconstitutional for the Pierce County Library to remove you. We know that as a matter of fact. Have they reached out to you at all?
No, they haven't reached out to me. They had a meeting at the South Hill campus, which is the main, I believe, the main library. And they had a meeting there and said that they're going to allow me to have meetings there with the community.
Yeah, which, again, is the constitutional position they would have to take regardless. What's your response to the Democratic Socialists of America, this Tacoma Pierce County chapter, asking for you to be banned and censored?
Well, they always talk about how they're for freedom of speech and whatnot, but they are really against freedom of speech if it disagrees with what their narrative is. So that's what it's all about.
Have they reached out to your office at all, or did you just kind of find out about this petition because of the coverage?
I just found out about the petition because of the coverage. They didn't reach out to my office that I know of. I haven't heard anything from them personally.
So what's your response to folks? And I think this is actually valid when someone says, hey, I don't like when my sheriff takes on political positions, period. I think that that's a fair point for anyone to make on either side of an issue. What is your response to people who might have a concern over your political positions and whether or not you're capable in their eyes of, pushing politics aside to be the sheriff?
Well, I wasn't elected chief of police. I was elected sheriff, and people want more from a sheriff than just answer 911 calls. People come to me all the time to talk to me about boundary disputes, about First Amendment rights, about Second Amendment rights. They haven't been arrested by the police. They don't have a problem with police or the sheriff's office. They just want to talk about other things that they want the sheriff to stand up for, and people understand the sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer of the county, and they also want me to stand up for and against unconstitutional laws. So I'm representing people out there who haven't had a voice maybe forever, or at least for a long time, and giving them a voice there.
Do you find that there are more supporters than detractors, and that media maybe gives the detractors more of the coverage?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more people who support what I'm doing than are against me. I get emails all the time, not just from Pierce County, but from across Washington State and from across the country and from as far away as Australia. People send me emails saying, don't stop, stand up for your rights, because you'll end up like us if you don't. So keep fighting back for the people, Sheriff.
Now, at the same time, you've obviously caught the attention of the state legislature. They moved forward with their bill that would effectively allow a bunch of bureaucrats to remove sheriffs from positions, including yours. And then ultimately, their end goal is to not allow for sheriffs to be elected positions. What's your response to how far they've gone so far? And it certainly seems like they're not going to stop until this bill passes and signed by Governor Ferguson.
Right. The Democrats control everything, as you know, and you listeners know, because they're very intelligent. But the only thing they don't control are sheriffs, so they want to control sheriffs. And, I'm actually, I think this is a good thing for what they're doing, so the people who've been voting for Democrats can see that they are authoritarian. They want to take control over everything. They want to impose their will upon people, not have any freedom of speech or freedom of assembly or anything like that at all. If you oppose them, they want to cancel you. Probably later on, they'll put you in jail if they can for not agreeing with their narrative. So I think this is actually a good thing, and maybe it's what we need in order to save our state. Because I don't know what else that we've done, that we've gone through, that hasn't changed the voting patterns of people, but maybe this will.
Well, let's, for the sake of argument, say this doesn't change anything. Because you and I have probably spoken about this before. I've certainly spoken about this on air. I don't know what rock bottom looks like before voters start to change their minds, but we clearly have not hit that yet. If they don't change their minds on this and continue to vote for these far leftist positions, what does that tell you about the population here? Are we just on the wrong side of these issues, at least locally?
That would show that we're on the wrong side of these issues in Washington State. And then everybody, I'll let you all know, and then you can join me, and we'll move to a free state, and we'll have a good time there.
Is that what you expect to potentially have to do, is go somewhere else?
Well, I hope that this, what's going on with the income tax and with the attack on the independence of the sheriff's office will waken people up. I've been seeing some Democrats that are saying, like, hey, I'm a Democrat, but this has gone too far. So maybe it will have gone too far. I'm even talking to people who don't like me personally to say, I still want to be able to vote for my sheriff, because actually, Sheriff Swank, I don't like you. I want to vote you out, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I want them to have the right to do that. So, yeah.
Yeah, this one seems pretty clear if people actually understood truly what the Democrats are doing. And I don't think left-wing media does a particularly good job of explaining the scope of what their policies are intending. We've been talking with Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank. As always, thanks so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, too.
You're listening to The Jason Rantz Show right here on Seattle Red, seattlered.com.
You know, retirement is supposed to be a time of rest and relaxation. But every week I get calls from seniors who are stressed out because their cost of living keeps going up. They love their home and they want to stay in it, but they're struggling with rising property taxes, monthly bills, and monthly mortgage payments if they have one. Hi, I'm Steve Teitler, owner of Best Mortgage, a local family-owned company. I specialize in the reverse mortgage, which allows seniors to tap into your home equity for tax-free cash to pay off your mortgage, pay off debts, and maybe put some extra money in the bank. A reverse mortgage is a great option for some people, but it's not right for everyone. So give me a call and you'll talk directly to me in person or over the phone for honest advice you can trust. Search for Best Mortgage on the web or call us at 425-649-6000. You'll talk to me, not an AI robot. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. For years, Sunset Ford has told you something the rest of the car industry doesn't want to admit. Every Ford dealer pays the exact same price for new vehicles from the factory. Same car, same cost, down to the penny. Now, that's not opinion. That's a fact. No Ford dealer has a pricing advantage over another when it comes to what they pay Ford. None. So how can some dealers sell for less? Simple economics. If a dealer has a lower cost of doing business, they can pass those savings on to you. And so compare a massive city dealership with that flashy multi-million-dollar facility, that army of employees that comes with massive overhead. Compare that with the same Ford inventory purchased for the same price but located in Sumner. Yeah, that means lower overhead, which means lower prices. Which dealer can save you money and still include warranty protection for life, oil changes for life? Sunset Ford of Sumner. The truth is, no Ford dealer can sell you a new Ford for less than Sunset Ford of Sumner. You just get more at Sunset Ford. And people do like that. SunsetAutoFamily.com.
Spring is right around the corner, but the perfect time to start your outdoor project is right now. Natural Design Landscaping has been serving Seattle and the East Side for nearly 30 years. They design, build, and maintain stunning outdoor spaces, from full makeovers to weekly maintenance. Beat the spring rush and get your yard project started today. Mention Seattle Red and get 10% off your first service. Visit naturaldesignlandscape.com to schedule your consultation. Natural Design Landscaping, let's build something wonderful together.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free. free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Be a part of all the excitement at Beasley Coliseum this year. Come cheer on the Washington State Cougars men's and women's basketball teams as they host the likes of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Oregon State in conference play this season. Don't miss out on all the action. Grab your tickets to upcoming WSU basketball games today at WSUCougars.com/tix. Again, that's WSUCougars.com/TIX. See you at Beasley Coliseum. Go Cougs!
Olympia, Sammamish, Lakewood, Bellevue.
This is the Big Local on the Jason Rantz Show.
Bellingham, Kirkland, Z-Town.
Stories about you, not about Seattle.
Hey, look at that, 4:30 on a weekday afternoon. That means it's time for the Big Local. Brought to you by our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn, who understands the pressure that comes from owing money to the IRS. Don't let that pressure build. Call None Better Tax Resolution. Google NUNN, None Better Tax Resolution. This is the part of the show where we completely ignore the stories coming out of Seattle and instead focus all of our attention on the communities you live in and care about most. We start in Eastern Washington, kind of the Spokane area, where there's a whole bunch of anti-ICE billboards going up, some of them funded by an organization called wearegettingscrewed.org. Oh, my God. But also Anthony Flynn, who's a former English professor at Eastern Washington University, so you might gather what kind of professor he was when he was there. They feature a cartoon depiction in one hand of ICE agents pointing a gun at a mom and a kid while citing Matthew 25:40. That reads, "Inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me." Do you know what that means? Because this is more down your lane.
I guess
you're doing to them, you're doing to me, blah, blah, blah.
Take care of the most weakest among us, most vulnerable among us.
The rapist. And, oh, no, in this case, they're just pretending it's, I guess, a Spokane mom and her young, innocent child.
Yeah.
No reason to be deported. And then a second set of billboards that Anthony Flynn is putting out there. One very dramatically claims, "Hell has come to America." And then it shows an image of ICE agents. Hell has come to America. Oh, okay. He said to the Spokesman Review, "The more people see these wherever they are, the better. So I'm going to continue renting billboard space, always hoping for fresh views for as long as my billboard fund holds out." I don't know where he's getting the funds from. Maybe some of it is crowdsourcing. Maybe some of it is he was a tenured teacher for a long time at Eastern, and he has a nice little nest egg that he's now wasting on this. But to me, part of me looks at a story like this, and he's spending his own money on this. It's just sad. It's just sad, like pathetic sad. I feel bad for this man. I don't know anything about him. And maybe he's just an uber wealthy guy, although not for long because of the new millionaire tax. Maybe he falls in that category, but something suggests he doesn't. Like, I don't read that from him. Doesn't that make you just a little sad? The other hand, I think he's a crazy person who needs a therapist. But it's also, I feel sad for him. And I don't want to become a man like that. It wouldn't obviously be on this topic, but do you ever think about what you're going to become the older you get and how you'll be forgotten by people to the point where you have to do things like this? That's what this reads like to me. Please pay attention to me. I'm getting old. No one calls me. No one visits me. Maybe my spouse passed. My kids disowned me, kind of. Something is there. And maybe that's just my own insecurities that I'm putting on this man. But he said such public declarations as this billboard could help people feel less afraid. How could you just said hell is here? How could that make people feel less afraid? Did they redefine hell on the left? Now it's a good thing? Is that the only way that they can sell Seattle and Los Angeles and Spokane and San Francisco and New York? Redefining what hell on earth looks like? Okay. Randy McCallus, I think is his name. He's one of the founders of that stupid website. He said he's trying to target persuadable voters. We're not trying to convince red or blue hats. We're focused on swing voters. Swing voters in Spokane. Yeah, there's a ton of them. Okay. I mean, I guess that's what they do. It's good for the economy. Right?
I don't know if it's really adding to GDP that much, but...
Well, Spokane Valley. It's several thousands of dollars. There's not that many billboards available in general anymore. I mean, cities have kind of taken down billboards.
Yeah, you don't really see those anymore, do you?
You don't. I mean, it depends on where you live, I suppose. When I was in Spokane, how many months ago? 6 months, maybe? I mean, I did the drive to Coeur d'Alene because they have an Upgrade Labs there, and I'm a member of the local Upgrade Labs, which, by the way, is run by Dave Asprey, who's on the show tomorrow.
I know you're geeking out.
Oh, my God. But on the drive over, there were definitely billboards in Idaho. Maybe it's some Washington thing that they're doing. Are blue states against billboards? Why are they so anti-advertising? Unless it's for pot. I seem to see a lot of pot advertisement. Am I the only one who sees it everywhere? Maybe because I seen it once and now I paid attention to it. It seems like I see a lot of it. I just see a lot of ads and flyers and stuff for weed. It's enough. Speaking of Spokane, the mayor, Lisa Brown, far left, she just introduced with the council a bill that would ban any kind of ICE detention center. Now, to be clear, there's not even reason to believe that ICE is looking at Spokane for a detention center. There's no reason to believe that. But she's saying, well, they have a whole lot of money and they're obviously making more arrests. So it's likely that they're looking to expand. And so she is creating this zoning law that's in effect for a year if this passes. I think they're taking this up on Monday. And it would say that the new definition in the city of Spokane for a detention facility would be something that is judicially required detention or for the incarceration of people under 24-hour supervision. So that's how they would change the wording of their current detention facility zoning law. It says regardless of the operator, but obviously the reason why they're doing this is for ICE. She said in an interview with the Spokane Spokesman Review, I think it's pretty clear they're looking to expand detention facilities. They have funding for it. And detention facilities specifically have had a track record that I believe is problematic. The lack of care, the detention of children, etc. But then they were like, but is there any reason to believe it's happening here? Quote, no, of course not. We don't know much about what's going on with them, but we usually find out when it's too late. You find out when it's too late? Don't they have to get permitting anyway and do the construction of a giant detention center? And the funny thing is, under state law, cities can stop detention facilities, but they can't get in the way of office space. And ICE operates office space in the city of Spokane. In any major city, they've got some offices. Sometimes they're large, sometimes they're small. It's for the administrative work. So they can't do anything about that. And meanwhile, they're like, we're just sending people over to Tacoma. We've got a detention center in Tacoma. We don't need one over here. And by the way, if we're already on this side of the state, we know the kind of hassle it would be like to have any kind of detention facility. We'll just go to Idaho. They're open to having us there. They're like, come on down. We'll put a detention center right next to the Upgrade Labs, which is right next to that Froyo place. What's it called? It is.
The Froyo place?
Yeah, it's like
Grooveberries.
Right. I went to their website. So Grooveberries, the reason why we mentioned it now twice is they got death threats after they put Charlie Kirk's face and a Bible verse on their Froyo cups, and they gave a portion of the proceeds to Turning Point USA, and they did this because they wanted to inspire people to turn to God. And
no, they did it because they're Nazis.
They're fascists and whatnot. But they ended up getting death threats from people. How does that bother you? But it's in Coeur d'Alene, and I was like, this place looks so familiar because I was on their website. It's right by the gym I went to when I was there. I think it's in the literal same facility because I recognized it. It must have been in the facility when I walked around. So that means I like it, I guess.
Even if the yogurt was terrible, I'd still like it.
I mean, it's hard to have bad froyo.
Yeah, that's true.
Weird ice cream, you can have bad ice cream.
Yeah.
But not froyo. I don't think I've ever had, maybe not so great flavoring in general, but the quality of the actual, because it's just yogurt that's frozen. Like, that stuff is good.
Mm-hmm.
Froyo is way better than ice cream.
Pretty good.
Frozen yogurt is far superior. But what's the one that doesn't have a lot of, the Italian one?
Gelato?
Gelato is the best.
That's at the top of the pyramid.
Oh, gosh, that's good. Now I'm hungry. I'm actually weirdly not hungry, but I could have froyo now. And gelato. Can you do half and half, or is that weird? Because the consistency would be weird.
I feel like gelato is richer, and so it'd be kind of weird. Yeah.
Stop judging me. Finally, there's an article in Como TV about Washington State University adding AR technology to their restaurant menus on campus. AR technology is augmented reality. It's not like AR-15, which, by the way, is not automatic rifle dummies.
Armalite.
Yeah. Augmented reality. And what they say, they're pushing this because they think they can boost interest from consumers in purchasing. It just creates a buzz. The way it works is, and anyone who has an Amazon account, a lot of businesses are doing this now, but if you have like an Amazon account, you're shopping, and let's say you're looking at a new, air purifier. There's a little button on there that says, see what it looks like in your home. And so you push the button, and it has you take a video of where you might put the air purifier, whatever it is, and it will scale an image onto your camera so it would give you a better sense of what it looks like in your home. And you can do it on pretty much everything that they sell, including books for some reason. I have no idea why they do it, but they can. So they're just doing that version of it, but with the menu there on campus. And they think this is going to increase transparency about what the food looks like. And they're giving more information on the menu items and whatnot. I saw an image. It just shows you what their burger and fries might look like if you ordered it on your table. And the problem I have with this kind of technology, pushing aside the gimmicky nature of it, because it's just useless, aren't you going to run into the same problem you run into when you just look at advertising for food at restaurants or anywhere that it looks really good on a menu, and then you get it ordered and then it looks nothing like the image? Isn't that basically, aren't you just setting them up for failure unless they're consistently able to meet the same high quality photo?
It's like, that's what they already do in commercials, right?
Exactly.
It looks great. And then
you go and you're like,
oh,
what? This looks nothing like the image. Doesn't even look like it's edible. Why are we doing this? People got to see through this, right? This kid, would you ever go to a restaurant because you can get an augmented reality menu?
No.
It just seems kind of lame. If this was 1997, okay, that's kind of cool. But I want it to teleport to my table. And I want it to come out of like a conveyor belt after I push a button, freshly cooked and ready. I want it Jetson style.
And then after I leave, get into my flying car.
Yeah, no flying. I want to push a button and I teleport. None of this flying nonsense. That's not efficient. Teleportation, very efficient. This just seems like an old technology. But okay, you do you, Wazoo. I'm trying to think of what could this be used for that we might actually like, and nothing comes to mind. I do kind of like the idea of Amazon because I've used that before to see how big something is. But I don't trust. The problem is I still don't trust it. I'm like, it's not going to be that big, and I get it, and it's exactly what they told me, and then I'm mad. The Sunset Auto family wants you to know every car dealer in the country pays the exact same price for every vehicle from the factory to the penny. And so if you're offered a lower price, just make sure you're not getting less for your trade-in or paying a higher interest rate. Here's a hint, though. You are. The difference isn't the car, it's what you get after you buy it. And that's why the Sunset Auto family keeps winning and why customers keep choosing them. SunsetAutoFamily.com. When we come back, you pick the news. Story number 1, there's a curling cheating scandal at the Winter Games. Canadians are responsible because, of course. Oh, we're so polite.
Got very testy.
It did get very testy. There's some pretty great audio. Or an unruly Delta customer forces an emergency landing in Houston. What this customer is accused of doing will shock you to your core. Which story should we discuss? 1-800-465-8770. You pick, we talk when we come back.
Hey, it's Guy Benson. I've been telling you about the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, and I could see it in the mirror. I could feel it in my clothing fit. I needed to lose a little bit of weight. Maybe not a ton, but definitely some. This opportunity came up, and I was skeptical. Would it really be worth putting in the work to actually get the results? I wasn't sure. So I did a phone call with Dr. Coogan and his team. We talked through the whole thing, and Adam and I decided, you know what, let's go for it. Let's commit. And with that commitment has come amazing outcomes. We have lost a combined 40-plus pounds and counting. There's a plan. You trust the process. You follow it, and the weight melts away. I can personally attest to how well this works. So find out for yourself. At the very least, set up a 15-minute phone call with Dr. Coogan and his team. Go to eastsideweightlossclinic.com to find out more. eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Hi, Flo here to say that Progressive knows that life can change quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, like when I have to take my ex off my policy.
Oh, sorry. But yes, we can do that.
And can you send them a message and tell them that they have trust issues that they need to work on?
We don't really get in the middle of these conflicts.
Also, can you let him know that I was faking interest in his band and it's probably time to grow up?
I'm not going to do it. Just know that with Progressive, you can easily make changes to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Also, I'm staying in touch with his mom because she's absolutely lovely.
Bad idea.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. Last year, the big news, obviously, was the accomplishment of the big, beautiful bill. But that also comes with some big, beautiful changes to the IRS.
There are some big, beautiful changes going on. And so many of those changes in the big, beautiful bill impact 2025. What I see is there are going to be a lot of taxpayers when they prepare their tax returns. They're going to see their taxes go down. And it will provide the opportunity for taxpayers to save more money in the ways of higher standard deduction, itemized deductions. There used to be this $10,000 limit of deducting taxes. And most people, especially in our area, between property taxes, sales tax, it's going to be a lot more than $10,000. So that's going to be really helpful. There's definitely some big spiffs in there for the ordinary working person. One thing that I'm really disappointed in is the way that things have been communicated in regards to the Social Security. It is still going to be taxed. It's not like it's not going to be taxed. Part of it may be not taxed, but it's not this global thing. Oh, yeah, your Social Security isn't going to be taxed. Well, no, that's a partial truism. As with any politician, it's like they don't quite give you the full story.
Yeah, and unless you're paying attention to the code and how it's actually working, you don't know.
You don't know. You just go, oh, man, my Social Security, none of it's going to be taxed. And then when you go to prepare your tax return, you're going to go, oh, wait a minute, some of it's still going to be taxed. But it will be, for most people, a reduction in the amount of tax.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, then call Greg Nunn. None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967. Or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
You pick the topic on the Jason Rantz Show.
Indeed you do. You're curious why a Delta flight was forced to make an emergency landing A spokesperson confirmed to Fox News Digital that Delta Flight 2557 from Houston to Atlanta had to return to Houston right after takeoff because of some passenger conduct, and they say they have zero tolerance for unruly behavior. Now, we'll get into the unruly behavior, but I have a little bit of tolerance for unruly behavior if it means you're not going to delay my flight by several hours. Now, what my tolerance level is, I don't know. I don't want to have it tested, but I imagine, especially because you just took off, I would say, hey, let's give it some time. Let's see how this develops before we decide to turn this plane around. Because I would rather, if we're going to have to make an emergency landing for this, I'd like to not have to go back and backtrack. Let's go somewhere further down, closer to Atlanta. Because that's not a terribly long flight, is it? A couple hours, maybe?
Houston to Atlanta?
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty, not
it's
very
got to be, if that, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they say it turned around at 5:25 a.m. after the pilot declared an emergency. He said, the pilot said over the radio to air traffic controller that, quote, "We had a passenger get up and try to access the cockpit." What if he was just trying to go to the bathroom and got confused? Who amongst us hasn't made that kind of mistake before? Haven't you? The pilot reportedly asked if the controller could, quote, "coordinate and have security standing by." Oh, big baby. The Delta spokesperson said the plane was met by law enforcement after its emergency landing. The Delta spokesperson said that the passenger did not make contact with or attempt to access the flight deck, which means what happened exactly? So and CNN has this report because they listen to there's a website called Broadcastify where you can get access to all this stuff. So he said what he said. The pilot said what he said. Was it just a misunderstanding? What if it was an actual misunderstanding about having to go to the bathroom? Why are you assuming that it wasn't a misunderstanding?
People are pretty dumb.
Spokesperson said the passenger did not make contact with or attempt to access the flight deck, which is a direct contradiction to what the pilot said. The airline spokesperson did confirm that the unruly passenger approached crew and other customers. FlightAware, a website that provides real-time flight information, said the flight landed in Atlanta at 9:45 a.m. Eastern, 1 hour and 21 minutes behind schedule. That's absurd. I don't want to wait an extra 90 minutes, especially if he didn't even if he got into the flight deck, okay, fine. But also, pat on the back for discovering a clear security vulnerability with the flight. How'd he get in?
Mm-hmm. They should have taken a vote amongst the other passengers. Like, all right, do you want to land or do you just want to keep going? We're like,
So I have a question. Every time a pilot has to go pee or poop, they come out and they switch places with a member of the flight crew. What is she going to do? Why should I feel safe with that? Just keep the door unlocked. I get why you want someone there in case something happens to the pilot. Someone can then unlock the door. Can we not just give the pilot a code to get in? Why are you thinking about that as if it's an absurd and illogical question?
Well, I thought it was more of a rhetorical question.
It wasn't. I was looking at you, and I gave you 3 seconds to respond, and I got the sense you weren't going to respond. These are the things that I ask myself as I'm on a flight. I've been flying a lot lately. I've got 2 more trips to New York coming, one next week possibly, and then the week after for sure. See how busy this is? And so I'm stuck on these flights, especially coming back from New York. It's 6.5 hours, or I'm just miserable the entire time. And so all I have to do is sit with my thoughts because the movie selection Delta this month has not been great.
What about like a podcast or something? Or
no, I can't for 6.5 hours.
Well, okay.
That's a lot. I'm good for maybe 90 minutes, 2 hours. I got the Bret Easton Ellis podcast on. I'm listening to Dave Asprey's upgrade.
Can you sleep on planes or no?
No, I wish. Oh God, I wish. Even when I have a flat bed, if I'm flying like to England or something in business class, I still can't really fall asleep. I can kind of lay there for a bit, so at least I'm resting, but I can't get knocked out because the flight, you're shaking the whole time. It's tough. I don't know. I got to figure out what to do on my next flight. Some people say, you should get up and you should stretch and do all that stuff. That seems weird. Where am I going to stretch?
I mean, those aisles are so small.
So you can't walk. I cannot walk straight down with my shoulders like parallel to the. I have to do the whole walking at an angle. So
yeah, same.
There's no other way. And it's both a combination of how tight the aisle is, but also the seats are pretty tight, so people are leaning into the aisle. And I'm guilty of that too. Usually if I see someone, I'm going to move out of the way. Unless I don't like them, then I'll shoulder them and see if they can fall. But it's really difficult. So where are you supposed to go stretch? You can go hang out in the back, but the flight attendants are busy pretending to do work when really they're just hiding out back there. I've been out there a few times now where they pull the curtain, and they're clearly just chatting. And they're doing that so no one bugs them for an extra Coke Zero. That's another thing, by the way. Can you not stock full Coke cans? You give me a thimble-sized drink, no matter where it is. Unless you're in first class, they'll give you the full can. It's not that much of a space issue. Not everyone's drinking a full can anyway.
I know. Like I usually just get water, and it's like this. It's like
they give you nothing.
Hardly anything. It's like I'm dehydrated. I need more than that.
It's so bad. That's one thing I do a lot of, though. I'll drink a lot of water on these flights. That's why I always have to have an aisle seat, because I have to pee all the time because I'm drinking constantly. I'm drinking electrolyte water at least, so I don't have to pee as much as I would otherwise, because salt retains the water in your body. But it's bad. We should have picked a different story because I really had nothing to say about this, guys. Why'd you pick this story? You forced me into it. It's the Jason Rantz Show.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. When your heat goes out or your AC stops working, you don't have time to wait. CM Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, they've got award-winning technicians who can fix any heating or cooling breakdown, and they do it fast. And, by the way, they've been doing it for over 40 years across Snohomish, King, Skagit, and Island counties. For a limited time, get a $0 service call fee when you choose CM Heating for your heating or cooling repair. CM Heating offers 24/7 availability, fast emergency response, and thousands of 5-star reviews from homeowners in Everett, Linwood, and the surrounding areas. From quick fixes to the major repairs, there's no beating CM Heating. Book your next heating or cooling repair at cmheating.com. That's cmheating.com, or call 425-259-0550. 425-259-0550. Contractor license CMHEAHL 751LW.
Well, the wet, chilly weather has certainly arrived. It's Mike Salk here, and if your attic and crawl space are well insulated, your home should be fine. Should feel cozy and warm without your furnace having to work overtime. But you'd be surprised to learn how many homes in Western Washington lack insulation in these spaces. It's why you call Crawl Pros. If you're feeling cold drafts or seeing that heating bill spike, now's a great time to learn if you got anything going on behind that crawl space or attic by calling Crawl Pros. They'll come out to your house just like they did to mine, do the corner-to-corner inspection. In my case, they found the problem, showed me the pictures, and then they got it all fixed. Now, if they do discover your home is under or improperly insulated, they'll show you all the utility rebates that are available to help you get the work done correctly. Like if you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you could get a rebate to cover up to 95% of the cost of the insulation job. If you're worried anything is going on in your crawl space or attic, including critters, water intrusion, mold, plumbing issues, anything, call Crawl Crawl Pros and schedule your free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
Seattle Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastlake, 33 BU Seattle.
The CEO of Meta takes the stand. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The trial in Los Angeles over the use of Instagram by young children. Attorneys for the plaintiff, a now 20-year-old woman, claim her early use of social media addicted her to the technology, causing her depression and suicidal thoughts.
Lead plaintiff lawyer Mark Lanier pulling out document after document, including one 2018 study stating that roughly a third of kids ages 10 to 12 in the U.S. were on Instagram. Plaintiff Kaylee, in this case, was 9 years old when she signed up for it. Zuckerberg maintains company policy is that users must be over the age of 13, but acknowledged kids can lie. Zuckerberg pushed back with two separate reasons during these document showings and exhibits. He said that some of the documents are about 10 years old, and he said in some cases he's not part of the correspondence that were being shown to the jury.
Fox's Kelly Saberi in Los Angeles. Meta and YouTube are the two remaining defendants in the case. TikTok and Snap have settled. The Pima County Sheriff's Office tells Fox the polygraph testing that's being done is for new hires and has nothing to do with the Guthrie case. 8 skiers have died and one remains missing after they were caught in an avalanche in California's Sierra Nevada mountains. 6 members of the group survived after being trapped for 6 hours.
Now, these skiers were with hired guides, mountaineers. For whatever reason, they could not get out fast enough when those winds and the snow came in, and then the avalanche occurred. 2 of the people during the rescue mission could not even walk out of the region because they were so injured. They were brought to a hospital, not life-threatening injuries. They're going to be okay.
Fox Weather's Robert Ray in South Lake Tahoe. Passengers on board a JetBlue flight heading to Palm Beach from Newark Airport in New Jersey forced to evacuate using the plane's slides after the plane returned to the airport due to a reported engine issue. America's listening to Fox News.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
The yellow light! I'm walking here!
Good afternoon and welcome to the Jason Rantz Show. We are live on Seattle Red 770 AM. We are streaming live on the Seattle Red app. Make sure you download it in your phone's app store. And of course, online at seattlered.com. We've got a lot to get to. Turns out drivers are getting hit again because of sound transit incompetence. We'll explain. But first, dangerous criminals would be released early from prison thanks to Washington Democrats. What could possibly go wrong? That's what's trending.
What's trending? Crime.
The House bill is 1239, and it expands earned release time for qualifying offenses committed on or after July 1st of this year. Under the law, if you are convicted of a serious violent offense or certain Class A sex offenders, you're generally limited to earning 10% off of your sentence if you are well behaved while in jail and you seem to give off the impression that you are a changed person. The bill changes that 10% to 33.33%. So 33.33% of time off of your sentence if you are a violent offender or a sex offender, but you were kind of nice behind bars. Now, folks on the left will tell you that this is actually a great idea because it incentivizes criminals to get back on the right path.
Earned release is a powerful motivator for positive engagement in education, work, and pro-social interactions in the prison.
This bill focuses on preparation, not shortcuts. By expanding access to earned release time for eligible sentences, the bill gives people a real reason to engage in programming.
One could argue not going to jail should be reason enough not to commit a crime. It feels like they're doing this a little bit backward. The whole idea of a jail sentence is because you decided to break the law. You decided to break with the agreement we've made in society not to murder or rape. I don't need you to change your mind and feel sorry for what you did after you were punished. I'll take it, and I want people to change their minds. But I'm not okay giving you a lighter sentence because you realized that you don't like life behind bars. It's supposed to be punishment. And by the way, there is not really any data that suggests things like this truly change who someone is. There's not evidence of that, which is why you've got people like former crime victims advocate Tiffany Attrell, who testified against the bill.
What I have heard over the course of my career is time and time again, victims, survivors, and their families were often shocked and disappointed by an already low sentencing range for crimes. For example, murder. If an offender has no felony criminal history, they are looking at about 10 years. This bill would reduce that by 33%, which is significant.
Yeah. But, I mean, she's only talking on behalf of the families of the victims. They don't really matter. Not in Washington State. They don't really matter. Are they really victims? I mean, one could argue the murderer is a victim because of our white supremacist culture. A criminal justice system that is broken and racist and going after these people. If that was a white murderer, would they go in jail? They would? Okay. Oh, no, never mind. Russell Brown with the Washington Association of Prosecuting Attorneys.
If simply reducing sentences increased rehabilitation and limited recidivism, that would be great. But the studies across the board don't suggest that.
He's right. 33%. And again, I ask you a simple question. I've asked it over and over and over again. But Democrats don't really want to answer. So let me try once more. Why do they keep fighting for criminals? Why do Democrats keep trying to find more and more reason to release people from jail who are violent? Again, they're not going after the person who is somehow still in jail because of a pot charge. They already released all of them. Why would you do this for someone who's a murderer?
Because it's not their fault. Society let them down.
Society let them down, I guess. Okay. We have a shortened legislative session. This is what they're focused on. This is what they focus on. You cannot make this up. But again, we get the government we deserve. And right now, this is the government that we deserve. They were put into office to do this. This isn't shocking to any of us. We didn't wake up this morning and say, oh my God, did you suddenly realize what Democrats are doing? All of a sudden, they're fighting for criminal. That's not what we voted them. Yeah, they've been in this position for years. They didn't hide it. I mean, I'll give them credit for that. It's not like they did this in the dark of night.
Yeah.
They didn't come out and say, I'm going to throw bad guys in jail. And then the second they got into office, they released them. They, in many cases, when they campaigned for their job, they said they're going to do this. So they didn't hide it, and yet they were still put into office. I don't blame them for this. Voters said that it's okay. And they're going to continue to do this until voters finally say it's not okay anymore. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending in Seattle?
I overheard someone, ironically, it might have not been the same day, but definitely the same 24-hour period. There was someone in the building who said something I overheard someone talking about out on the streets as I was walking my dog. There seems to be an awful lot of construction going on right now in specifically Seattle, like a ton. And some of it is on buildings, a lot of it is on streets, like traffic infrastructure. And it's true. As someone who actually lives in the city of Seattle, I've noticed this as well. It seems to me that a lot of folks don't want to, in city government, accept that it's not a great experience when you're doing a whole bunch of construction at exactly the same time. It turns out it's very difficult to get around, and you're making it worse and worse and worse by not managing the construction. In some cases, I'll certainly concede you can't manage the construction because there's maybe a bunch of competing, very serious issues that you need to work out. Okay. I doubt we have that many serious, urgent matters that if we don't figure out today, the whole city comes to a halt. The reason why I bring this up, Fox 13 talked to a restaurant owner who is dealing with Westlake Park construction. So this is in sort of downtown Seattle core. And he was at a point where he had to close down his restaurant temporarily because of all of the construction. Now, it's not just the construction, of course, because what else is happening at the exact same time as all this construction? Do you think the bad guys stop being bad? No, they're still committing crimes. You think the homeless are all like, hey, this construction zone, it's very noisy here. I'm going to go somewhere else. No, they don't even understand the noise because they're bonked out of their mind on fentanyl. And so he's been in a really tough spot, and he's trying just to do what he's supposed to do as the owner of a restaurant, get butts and chairs. But he said the mess is so significant that customers are just completely avoiding the area. The place is called Lingon Restaurant, which I've never heard of, and I don't live too far away from this area. But Edward, the owner, spoke to Fox 13.
And we asked him, we said, can we get some help? You know, can we get some rent subsidies? Can we somehow get something that helps us with this project? And they said, if we helped every business that we cause problems for, we'd be out of business, basically, is what they told us. Before they put up the lighting and the planters, it was a jagged construction fence, very dark and scary. People did not want to walk down the street there.
Yeah. You know what sucks for this poor guy? He opened in November of last year, which is probably why I'm not familiar with this restaurant. All the construction started October. So there was only one, and he probably didn't know that it was going to last this long. And he now says his business is barely hanging on.
I'm definitely not making the money that I thought I was going to be making. There's certainly not the foot traffic we had expected. When the World Cup gets here, hopefully there's still some businesses that can help the people that come, because, fingers crossed we'll even be making it. Hopefully we do.
Now, that's terrifying. He's basically saying he might not make it until July. Meanwhile, the city is doing literally nothing to help across the board. Just nothing. How is that fair to this poor guy? I get that businesses fail, right? That there's no doubt. And again, sometimes construction happens. But when you're already operating in a city in which they make it difficult to operate, you would hope that perhaps they would step back and at least acknowledge what it is they're doing and make it just a little bit easier. But it seems like they're intentionally making it difficult. And I can't be the only one who sees this. I'm seeing this as someone who's obviously not a business person, and I don't work in government. I just observe things. And we hear the same messages over and over and over again from people. You would think that they would pay attention. And by the way, we're told by this new mayor in Seattle that she's about the working class. She's trying to fight for the people. What about this guy? Is he not people enough? Is he not the right kind of people? Or is he too successful now because he owns a business? Yeah, well, his business will be done in July. So when he goes out of business, that's when you'll start to fight for him. Oh, cool. You're so nice. You're so compassionate. Let's find out what else is trending.
What's trending? Media bias.
Do you know Ed O'Keefe?
That name sounds familiar.
If you saw him, you would know him. He looks kind of like a troll. He looks like he's from The Hobbit. He's a CBS News reporter.
And, that guy.
Yeah, the pudgy guy with the glasses. So he's in the White House press corps. He always asks stupid questions. It's actually quite astonishing how bad he is at his job. And you would think that maybe Barry Weiss would start paying a little bit closer attention to this dude. But hey, maybe he's been there forever and he's got an ironclad contract. So he's there today talking, asking his questions of the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. And he manages in still a very left, it's more diverse now than it was before, but it's still very, very left-leaning, this press corps. He asked a question so stupid that people blurted out their laughter. They couldn't contain their laughter. It's truly remarkable.
Yesterday, in his statement about Jesse Jackson, the president said, despite the fact that I'm falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left, Democrats all, it was always my pleasure to help Jesse along the way. Where or when does the president believe he's been falsely called racist?
You're kidding, right? No. I will pull you plethora of examples. I'm going to get my team in that room to start going through the internet of radical Democrats throughout the years, Ed, who have accused this president falsely of being a racist. And I'm sure there's many people in this room and on network television across the country who have accused him of the same. In fact, I know that because I've seen it with my own eyes. And the president very much looks forward to having an event later this afternoon at 3 p.m. to celebrate Black History Month and to talk about how his policies are advancing.
And then it goes on. So it's so funny because the rapid response team for the president put out the first clip that came to mind when I originally saw this video. Now, sure, one could say literally every episode of the Joy Reid show, the Readout on MSNBC, called him a racist. There was one that immediately came to mind. I'm curious if it's the same one you thought of. It was very high profile. And I know there's a ton.
I mean, I think, well, I don't know if this counts, but when he, like the whole Charlottesville lie, that was kind of one of them. That was a big one.
Do you remember any particular show or person? Say Don Lemon, dummy.
Don Lemon, dummy.
This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. The President of the United States is racist.
That was the one that just immediately came to mind. And again, you could just Google this. I don't know if Caroline Leavitt's team had to do much here because they could have just said, hey, dummy. You literally use Google. You're on your phone right now. Just go on Google. You've never heard. And I tried to think of, did he mean it different? What was his intent on that question? Because and the funny thing, this is how dishonest he is. If he was being truly honest, he would say, I mean, I think he's a racist. But what are you referring to? Because you know that Ed O'Keefe thinks he's a racist. Is it possible he meant something else? What could he have possibly meant based on that question?
Maybe he meant well, he says he's falsely accused of being a racist. So, when was it false? But
that's not. And here's the funny thing. CBS News turned that into a package and they tweeted it out. They actually tweeted it. That's how dishonest they're being. And again, I certainly believe that CBS News has changed from where it was under Barry Weiss. Can we just stop pretending like it's all of a sudden a conservative network?
I mean, she's not a conservative. So.
Yeah, she's not a conservative, which people want. I was on a CNN panel and I said that exact same thing. And they were all like, she's not a conservative. I'm like, no, she's literally not a conservative. I wish she were a conservative. She's not. You mean she's not a crazy left-winger is what you really mean. And that's to a lot of these folks, that's all it is. They're either crazy far to the left or they're conservative. But they don't view it as crazy far to the left. They just view everyone who's not crazy as the actual crazy people. But it's funny because they're actually highlighting this. And, I guess to their credit, they played the full... Turn off your mic and not cough into the microphone, dummy.
I was like, oh, God.
Oh, my God. To their credit, they did post the full video. I probably would not have highlighted this because he comes off like a big dum-dum. But then there was an interview that was done earlier today. Norah O'Donnell went on some podcast I had never heard of, the Jamie Kern Lima Show.
I was thinking the same thing when I pulled this. I'm like, there's too many podcasts.
This is absurd. And how'd they book Norah O'Donnell? Who is this person? But she's on this podcast, and she is the anchor of Evening News or whatever she's doing. And she was talking about how there are a lot of her colleagues right now who are worried about their jobs because of all the changes at the network. The biggest change that just happened for them was they made it. Did you see the 60 Minutes decision they made?
Anderson Cooper?
Boom, they booted him. And he's been with them for like 20 years. I'm guessing that was purely financial because he's getting paid a ton. And there's no one who tunes into 60 Minutes. I could stop there for Anderson Cooper. But listen to what Nora O'Donnell said.
I have worked at CBS now for, oh my goodness, probably almost 14 years and have had a great career, whether it was covering the White House, anchoring the morning show, anchoring the evening news, and working for 60 Minutes. We have had a lot of leadership changes at CBS, and that has been challenging, not only for me, but I know for my colleagues. And I think with so many leadership changes, people are fearful about what the future means.
Okay. Now, there's two ways to take that. I don't know, does she literally mean fearful as in I'm scared that I'll lose my job? Or is it fearful of what the changes could mean for the network? Because what if people don't like it? And then I could ultimately lose my job. I think it's fair to say whenever you get any kind of management shakeups, of course, whenever you get a new boss, there's normal anxiety associated with that. Like, I don't know this person. I don't know what they want. They don't know me. They don't know the quality of work I'm capable of doing, or in many cases, they're going to see that I don't provide quality of work, right? There's two different ways that you can take this. I would argue there is a normal bit of anxiety that makes total sense, but then there's the people that she's likely talking about who are saying, oh my God, I am really bad at what I do, and now I'm going to be held to a different standard, and this is going to be devastating for my career, and it's not fair. That's my sense. That is I could be wrong, but that is my sense. That this is truly all about the fear that you've been outed as a bad employee, as a partisan employee. And I just found out, by the way, Ed O'Keefe follows me on X.
Really?
I don't know why. Should I follow him back? I'm not going to. I just think that's funny. But go ahead. You were about to say something.
I was going to say, well, you can't be wrong, though, because you're never wrong.
Well, obviously, I'm never wrong. But if you're at CBS, you have to assume, frankly, at almost any network, you have to assume that when there's talk about changes, they're going to come after you because there's a reason why they're making the changes. It's because you're failing. You know where you don't generally make these massive changes? At successful networks. Someone comes in at Fox News, for example. Someone new, their brand new leadership is put in place tomorrow. Now, there might be some people at the lower level who are like, oh, I don't know what this means. But there's not going to be a ton of concern that they're going to make some sort of massive level of changes, right? Because if you look at the top rated cable programming, not even just news, but if you look at news, I saw this yesterday, the top, I think it was 33 programs, all Fox News, every single one. And that includes repeats at 2 a.m. of Sean Hannity. Every single one is Fox. Then you get one or two MSNBC shows or MS Now shows, then more Fox. And then you get CNN and MSNBC and Newsmax. Then it finally comes in. And News Nation. So you're not really uncomfortable with change right now at Fox News, overall, culturally. But CBS News, oof, I'd be concerned. I'd be concerned at MS Now because they're, clearly up for sale and they're trying to make some changes there. CNN, I would be nervous about. News Nation is brand new. They're putting a lot of resources into their programming, so I probably wouldn't feel as, nervous there. But CBS, they should, Ed O'Keefe should feel nervous right now. That little troll. Should I follow him back and then unfollow once he realizes that I followed him? Because he's just waiting, wondering.
Is he, though?
I don't know. I wonder when I never even knew he followed me. I wonder how long ago he did. Over the years, Sunset's warranty protection for life has paid over $6 million in warranty claims because they value long-term relationships with you, the customer. Stop by the Sunset Auto family for a complimentary warranty health check. Nothing is worse than a void warranty when you need it the most. You just get more at Sunset, and people do like that. When we come back, Sound Transit is up to some no good. We'll explain on the Jason Rantz Show.
You know, retirement is supposed to be a time of rest and relaxation. But every week I get calls from seniors who are stressed out because their cost of living keeps going up. They love their home and they want to stay in it, but they're struggling with rising property taxes, monthly bills, and monthly mortgage payments if they have one. Hi, I'm Steve Teitler, owner of Best Mortgage, a local family-owned company. I specialize in the reverse mortgage, which allows seniors to tap into your home equity for tax-free cash to pay off your mortgage, pay off debts, and maybe put some extra money in the bank. A reverse mortgage is a great option for some people, but it's not right for everyone. So give me a call and you'll talk directly to me in person or over the phone for honest advice you can trust. Search for Best Mortgage on the web or call us at 425-649-6000. You'll talk to me, not an AI robot. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do? My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Nick, did you know this is called quit time? Did you know what that is?
I do not know.
That means right about this time of the year, people quit their New Year's resolutions.
Oh, kind of like last year.
Okay, never mind. The important thing is that both of us made a New Year's resolution that we would take better care of ourselves for each other. And we're holding to that.
We are not flaming out because...
Longevity Medical Clinic. So we get the support of Longevity. We told them what our goals were, and they're like, absolutely, we'll get you in line. So they support me, they support you, and then as a couple, they're making us accountable for the decisions we make. So we're not going to be quitting on these things. I can't remember what your New Year's resolution was around the house.
My New Year's resolution around the house was that I was going to try to get you to start putting things away.
And I was going to get you to actually learn how to cook a piece of chicken.
Oh, well, that's for next year.
Okay, fine. Either way, we've got a team behind us. Do what Nick and I have done. Take a free health analysis at lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
Thanks for calling CM Heating.
Aren't you the company that gives away free furnaces?
That's us. Buy a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system and the furnace is free.
Wow.
Yeah, and our home comfort advisors are tax credit and rebate specialists, so they'll handle the rebate for you.
Go to CM Heating for better comfort, lower bills, and a free furnace you'll love for years. Get your free estimate for furnace replacement at cmheating.com. And remember, for furnaces, fireplaces, hot water, and total home comfort, including electrical,
there's no beating CM Heating.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on Seattle Red, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
If you need security for your event or business, contact Security Services Northwest. From armed and unarmed officers to advanced remote monitoring, they've been doing it all since 1977. Go to ssnwhq.com for Security Services Northwest. File your taxes for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. File on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Valid for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
SeattleRed.com.
This was brought on
local
by Democrats.
Conservative.
Democrats got all excited, high on their own supply.
Bold.
We have got to stop this victim mentality.
Finally, a website dedicated to local news in Seattle. Make it the first site you read every day. SeattleRed.com. The Jason Rantz Show.
All right, let's break it down with Seattle radio host and author Jason Rantz.
Jason, if I didn't know you, my first question would be, do you make these stories up?
No, they accepted this proposal.
I guess it's a measure of how much they really don't like Trump, isn't it?
Long form.
Sound Transit doesn't seem to ever be able to commit to a reasonable time frame for their projects. They are always overscheduled. They're always over budget. And now legislation introduced by the Democrats in Olympia would target you guys who drive and your parked cars to pay for cost overruns with light rail. Joining me on the line to discuss from the Mountain States Policy Center, Bob Pishu. Bob, welcome back to the show. It's been a very long time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jason.
Take us through Senate Bill 6172.
Yeah, so, in the Seattle metro area, Sound Transit, everybody knows Sound Transit when they go to renew their tabs. It says RTA tax on there, and it's usually an astronomical amount. We're talking in the hundreds of dollars to even $1,000 or more. Well, some people haven't been renewing their car tabs, whether out of protest or the car doesn't work or for whatever reason. And Sound Transit wants to target those people not for driving cars with expired tabs, but for parking them on city streets and right in front of their house. So this attempt to try to penalize people for parking their unexpired or their expired vehicles is another attempt to try to get more money to pay for light rail cost overruns.
So in other words, you're suggesting these are folks who they don't even use their car. It's just being parked there semi-permanently. They're the ones who are getting hit, not the people necessarily who would be driving around knowingly not getting their tabs updated because they don't want to pay the astronomically high fee?
Yeah, so normally you'd have to be in operation of a vehicle, right? So you'd be on, let's say, I-5, a cop would pull you over and, for a certain reason, then go, hey, I noticed you have expired tabs. In this case, though, if your car is simply parked and not in operation, it would be able to get ticketed for that. You can see a lot of problems with that, right? People calling in cars to report on other people saying, hey, I don't like my neighbor, John. His car is expired and it's sitting here on a public street. Can you come by and take a look at it? So, things like that tend to, especially in this political environment, things like that do happen. So, like you mentioned, it is another, way to pay for Sound Transit's, fiscal crisis that they always seem to be in.
Yeah, well, they put themselves in it, to be clear. I've never seen a transportation agency with such a track record. Which agencies would be responsible for ticketing the parked vehicles?
It would be the police. I think the local police or parking enforcement, right.
And that in and of itself is kind of odd because those are local agencies and they're doing the tickets for, funds for local agencies.
Right. Yeah. And for the state as well. Right. A little bit of that money, goes to the state to pay for transportation projects, which I think everybody, a little bit, people are kind of on board with. But when a lot of that money just goes to Sound Transit to be essentially, to get projects late, over budget, shorter than that were promised, it adds insult to injury.
And of course, in this context, it's just ignoring the complaints from Washingtonians who have said over and over and over and over again and over again some more that they want to limit the car tap fees. And even going through semi-recently, an initiative that would cap it at $30, the Democrats at Olympia just said, we're going to ignore this. We're just going to move forward with it anyway.
Yeah, and this is a disturbing trend, right? We're seeing it with the income tax going forward as well. It's over and over and over again. People have voiced their opinions and their thoughts, and yet it seems to just get thrown away when, some electeds in Olympia, look to raise money. They go exactly after these painful areas that voters said, don't go there.
Now, at the same time, Bob, you wrote a story for us over at SeattleRed.com, an op-ed about the bull manure plan in Utah that wouldn't impact the state of Utah the way it would impact gas prices in the state of Idaho.
Yeah, that's right. So we've seen this a couple of times among high tax states. So Washington is one of them. California is another. And and now Utah, right? They have fairly high gas taxes, and surprise, surprise, the people aren't pleased with that. And so Washington State has tried this twice. Utah's trying it now, where it's called an export tax, where they tax at the refinery level, at the fuel refinery level, and a lot of that fuel gets exported so that, other states have to pay those rates instead of the local taxpayers, when instead, obviously, a better option is just to reduce the gas tax in your state, and also, pay more attention to spending and making sure the money is well used.
Do we know generally how much we think that would add to the cost of gas in Idaho? We know obviously would add to the cost, but do we know by how much?
Yeah, so estimates show it's going to be about 24 cents a gallon. Wow. So, which is a significant amount on top of the Idaho gas tax and on top of the federal gas tax. And the double whammy is that if that were to go through, the 24 cents per gallon would go to fix Utah's roads. Mm-hmm. So, although Rob McKenna has come out in the past when Washington tried to do it, former Attorney General Rob McKenna, and he thought there's a good argument that this would be unconstitutional. Now, we've already seen Idaho kind of snap back and say, hey, wouldn't it be a shame if the Great Salt Lake didn't have as much water as it normally has? Because the water that goes into the Great Salt Lake comes from Idaho. So we're all dependent on each other here for natural resources and things like that. But definitely the discussion has been amplified due to this Utah proposal.
There is, in the back of my mind, the funny part about this conversation is that while those of us who live in Washington, we look at Idaho and we say, man, we would kill for those gas prices. They're at $2.96 the last time I checked, which people need to be reminded. Yeah, that's cheaper, dramatically cheaper than Washington State, which is at $4.16, I believe. But $2.96 is higher than the national average. Idaho is actually expensive for gas as well. Utah is cheaper.
Yeah, and I mean, it's still a lot. Well, I remember, obviously, I'm aging, but I remember when gas was $1 a gallon or $2 a gallon, or even somewhat recently, was down in the low twos. Mm-hmm. And, all of these artificial costs, like you've seen in Washington, right, with the carbon tax and the high gas taxes, everything just seems to be going up, especially in these western states. So, California just has basically said that 2 refineries are closing due to costs and environmental regulations. So due to these policies, we're starting to see gas prices shoot up, all across the western United States.
Is there any reason to have hope? Maybe with Idaho versus Utah, but if you look at Washington State, we're still number 3 in the nation behind California and Hawaii. Every once in a while, we'll get to that number 2 spot. And, once in a blue moon, we get to the number 1 spot. But at $4.16, and that's the average across the state. So for folks who are thinking, hey, I just paid a lot more than that in Seattle. Yeah, I know. We're talking about in other parts of the state as well. Do we think that we're going to see any relief here?
That's hard to say. What I would probably say is you'll find, in Washington State and in other western states, right, you've reported before about the road usage charge, or the VMT tax, the tax by mile. I would probably think that, public officials will start going, hey, we know gas is expensive. Why don't we do this little, tax by mile setup? But unfortunately, I think that would also then get abused, and they'd start raising the rate on that. So I don't know if there's any relief here in the near future. I mean, I hope that, we can continue to actually start building in the United States again. That includes refineries. It includes energy, all of those things that we need to conduct daily life at a reasonable cost. Hopefully with this administration, we can see some of that get started. But as far as short-term relief, I don't see any.
Yeah, and as far as Washington lawmakers are concerned, they don't seem, if anything, pay by the mile plus a gas tax plus some other usage tax, I'm sure. I mean, it is quite obvious what it is they want to do and why they want to do it. And, hey, let's put more money into EVs. I've got a story up at SeattleRed.com just about a week ago, 12 million on 14 EV charging stations. I think overall it would be a little under 100 actual chargers for EVs. That's not even going to make a small dent in the crisis that we have.
No, I read that story, and that was a great piece. I never heard of a government policy to subsidize gas stations. I mean, instead gas stations sprung up. There was a demand, and and it's met. And now, gas stations are fairly ubiquitous. You can find them fairly easily. Instead, what we have here is another government program to try to force this technology when, the consumer and the drivers and families, they aren't picking it up like politicians wanted.
Yeah. And by the way, if the technology was good, to your point about gas stations, people would want the cars. The tech just doesn't exist yet. And I hope that changes. It's not like I'm in love with gasoline. I would love to get rid of gasoline and get anything that is as good, if not better, and cheaper for all of us. But we don't have that technology, and the infrastructure doesn't exist to the point that it would make a difference in anyone's commute. Again, we've been talking with Bob Pishew. He's with the Mountain States Policy Center. His op-ed on both of these stories, actually, up at seattlered.com. Bob, as always, thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jason.
Of course. You're listening to the Jason Rantz Show. Our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn, understands the pressure that comes from owing money to the IRS. Don't let that pressure build. Call None Better Tax Resolution. Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution. When we come back, the Idaho House backed a sweeping trans bathroom ban bill, plus a new poll finds an unusually high number of adults who identify as LGBTQIA2S++. It's nonsense. We'll explain why and how when we come back on The Jason Rantz Show.
Every season is a little bit different here in Washington, but I'll tell you what, the amount of rain never seems to change in the winter, and we have sure gotten a ton of it this season. All that rain, all that water, it's all got to go somewhere. And if it makes its way into your crawl space, that's when it can create all sorts of problems, including real structural damage, which could really affect your home. But more importantly, for the health of your family, the water in that crawl space could create toxic mold, and that has serious health repercussions. Thankfully, we have Crawl Pros. They can come in and keep your crawl space dry, install a sump pump and drainage, and reroute that water back out and away from your home. They'll also take care of any mold that may have been created. Don't take the risk. It's too important. The best way to learn if you have any water is to ask Crawl Pros to visit your home and inspect your crawl space for free. Crawl Pros will go where you don't want to. So if you're worried about water damage, mold, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-230-2777.
Jason Rantz here. Plumbing problems don't wait, and neither should you. CM Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical delivers fast, reliable plumbing services that you can trust, including drain cleaning, clog removal, repiping, and water heater installation and repair. For a limited time, save up to $200 on the installation of a brand new water heater, tankless or standard. Some restrictions apply. With over 40 years serving Snohomish, King, Skagit, and Island counties, CM Heating is an award-winning home services company with thousands of 5-star reviews from homeowners in Everett, Linwood, and the surrounding areas. Need help now? CM offers 24/7 availability and fast emergency response. There's no beating CM Heating. Book your free estimate for a brand new water heater at cmheating.com or call 425-259-0550 or cmheating.com. Contractor license CMHEAHL751LW. Plumbing license number CMHEAHL750LP.
SeattleRed.com.
Washington is a sanctuary state.
Local.
This was brought on by Democrats.
Conservative.
Democrats got all excited, high on their own supply.
Bold.
At least they can appreciate the president coming in with some type of help.
Finally, a website dedicated to local news in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest without the liberal spin.
This is going to be a major issue going forward.
Make it the first site you read every day. SeattleRed.com. The Jason Rantz Show.
Bring in Jason Rantz, Seattle Red 770 AM host, and also SeattleRed.com. Jason, great to have you with us.
Jason, Seattle is just continually ground zero.
Yeah, and this is really the Pacific Northwest is ground zero for all this nonsense.
USA Today is mocking the far left.
The quick hit.
So we've got a story out of SeattleRed.com about a piece of legislation, a smart piece of legislation that just got backed by the House in Idaho. And it has to do with banning statewide any kind of bathroom policy that would allow people to use the bathroom of their choosing, not based on their actual gender, their birth gender, not their gender identity. And there are a lot of activists who are very upset. In fact, they gathered inside of the state capitol on Monday to denounce the new legislation. Amongst the people who are protesting is the mayor of Boise, Lauren McLean. House Bill 607, as SeattleRed.com points out, expands Idaho's existing school bathroom law and allows individuals to sue government entities and private businesses that don't separate restrooms and changing areas by sex. And it passed overwhelmingly because they actually have reasonable people in positions of authority in their capital, 56-13. And there were some Republicans who joined the 13. 4 Republicans joined the 9 Democrats to oppose. There was a lawmaker who was absent. But the bill, according to Ted Hill, the state representative from Eagle, is focused on safety. He said, we're not going to check IDs. There's no burdensome requirements. It's really simple. Let's keep these people safe, those most vulnerable people in these spaces. Opponents warned that the bill could create intrusive enforcement challenges because they sometimes care about bureaucracy, I guess, and burdensome rules. When it comes to taxing, they love the burdensome rules because they could catch people who maybe don't pay exactly what they're supposed to. But Andy Henderson, the state representative, Henderson Hawes from Boise, said that this is a proof nightmare. It's not a proof nightmare. Now, supermajority in both chambers, so there's no way that this is not going to come to fruition. But it makes total sense. If you are, as a private business or a school, allowing for transgender women or girls, which are biological men or boys, to go into a female bathroom or a female locker room, and it even gets to the point where there is a disturbance, there should be consequences for this. Look, I believe in single stall bathrooms. Like, I think we should have them exclusively when you can. But in cases where you can't, I'm not going to pretend that girls and women don't have every reason to feel uncomfortable when they're put in positions that they didn't ask for by people who are not always doing so with the best of intentions. Now, I don't believe that the average transgender person who's using the bathroom corresponding to their identity is doing so for nefarious reasons, right? I just don't. And I would dare say that if you're uncomfortable with a obviously trans female simply going into a stall and using that and that's it, that's on you. You're right to be uncomfortable and sort of, like, I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but I don't think that that's egregious. If that's how you feel, I'm still on your side because I think that we've gone too far in changing gender norms for a small group of folks. But I'm not going to pretend that in and of itself, to me at least, is objectionable. And I've certainly been in bathrooms in which there have been transgender people and you kind of notice and then you kind of move on. Now, there are cases in which they're purposefully trying to be noticed and trying to cause a problem. And that's why, in the end, I fall on the more conservative side of this issue. But I think we're talking about a completely different issue when we're talking about locker rooms, changing stations. Like, I'm sorry, the people are nude. And you have every right in the world to say you feel uncomfortable around anyone who's looking at you while you're getting undressed, but certainly if you're talking about biological men. And the people on the left who want to pretend that this isn't an issue, that no one should feel uncomfortable, they're lying to themselves, they're lying to you, they're gaslighting all of us, and it's absurd. And that's why we have to end up expanding laws like this. It's because folks on the left couldn't just do what was right and reasonable and logical and just chill out a little bit. They just decided to lean into every kind of absurd position where if you've got someone who is literally touching themselves while in a locker room, they're going to defend the people touching themselves. That's absurd. And if you think that's hyperbole, look at the news, where you've got people who are going up to a business owner or some manager of a business saying, hey, so-and-so is literally groping themselves while staring at me. Well, that's the law. No, that's not the law. And rather than call that out, people just downplay it or pretend it doesn't happen. It does happen. It's not the majority by a stretch, right? It's just not. But it is happening. And when it does, it seems to me like we should be able to call it all out. Now, there was a story over at Fox News about a new poll finding 9% of adults identify as LGBTQ2IAS++, which is about triple the amount recorded in 2012. This was a phone survey that was done last year of 13,000 adults. This is according to Gallup. And they say about 9% of Americans self-identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, or some other non-heterosexual identity. If you're wondering how from 2012 to 2025 it can jump from about, I think it was like 3.5% to a little over 9%, a lot of this has to do with the fact that people now identify in ways that maybe they were previously uncomfortable identifying as, meaning they were always whatever it is they're identifying as, but 10 years ago, 12 years ago, they just didn't feel comfortable. Or a big chunk of this, I'm willing to bet, is people taking a political stance in how they're identifying. And that includes people who identify as bi or trans, or as they say, the other non-heterosexual identity. People identify in lots of ways because they think it's cool, it's hip, it's how they're supposed to identify. That's the reality. There's no way that it's close to 10% in this country, at least not based on a survey of 13,000. That's just absolutely absurd. Now, do I think it's been higher than 3.5%? Yes, I think it's also higher than 3%. What that number is, I have no idea. But I'm just not buying it's as high as 10%, given the politics of gender identity, which has been sort of morphed into being about sexuality. There are people who don't make any distinction whatsoever. So I think there's just a lot of confusion, frankly, and a willingness to identify in a way that isn't necessarily accurate to how they feel, but they think it's going to benefit the cause by doing so. And it's the equivalent of when I get push polled on a call, they ask me if I'm a Democrat or a Republican. I always say I'm a Democrat. I do that intentionally. And yes, I know what I'm doing. It's a jerk thing to do. I'm doing it anyway. And I'm doing it for political reasons. That's how I think people are responding to these kinds of surveys. They say the vast majority, 86%, say they're heterosexual, while 9% identify with one of the various LGBTQ plus identities. And by the way, when you identify as queer, that could be also a political statement, not necessarily a reflection on who you're attracted to. They say 5% did not give a response. They say LGBTQ plus identities are more prevalent in young adults, women, and Democrats, according to the data. They say 23% of adults 18 to 29 identify as LGBTQ. It's ridiculously high. It's not true. That number drops precipitously to higher age groups, falling to 10% amongst 30 to 49-year-olds, 3.1% for 50 to 64-year-olds, and 2.3% for those 65 plus. They say while 10.5% of women identify as LGBTQ plus, only 5.6% of men do, according to the telephone poll. And again, this can be a woman who says she is attracted to other women without actually acting it out. They just say, oh, no, she's pretty. I think the way women talk about sexuality is a lot different than men. Men generally, heterosexual men won't generally say, that's an attractive man right there. But a heterosexual woman would say, no, that's an attractive woman over there. I just think that's how it works. Now, they say 14.2% of Democrats identify as LGBTQ, but only 1.9% of Republicans do. This is why I'm single. Can't find a gay Republican anywhere. Unless I'm looking in a mirror. 1-800-465-8770 for your texts. 1-800-465-8770. You're listening to the Jason Rantz Show. Don't forget to head on over to SeattleRed.com for news and opinion without any of the left-wing spin. SeattleRed.com.
SeattleRed.com, the only place for local news.
You're not supposed to say anything if you live in Portland or Seattle.
Without the liberal spin.
You end up getting the mob coming after you.
Sign up for the newsletter and get the very latest local conservative news, opinion, exclusive video content, and more delivered right to your inbox every day.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to A to Z Savings, our biggest sale of the year.
Happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with Duralast rotors.
Free? Really?
Really? Free.
I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah. How much is that?
Free with the oil.
Free? Really?
Really. Free. It's part of A to Z Savings with hundreds of deals.
From A to free.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ends March 9th. Restrictions apply.
Cold is leaking and rats are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
Welcome to guided meditation. Close your eyes. You're at the beach. The seagulls are calling. You take out your iPhone 16e you got from Cricket and use Apple Intelligence to clean up that selfie you just took. It's a good one. You send it to your friends instantly thanks to reliable nationwide 5G. They're totally jealous. Get iPhone 16e for $49.99 when you switch. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new line on the Supreme Unlimited plan. First service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Bear right at exit 32, then begin to wonder why you never bought a fish tank. In 1.3 miles, you'll realize you've been mispronouncing epitome your whole life. At the roundabout, you will remember you said something at dinner you wish you hadn't and will think about it for decades. You have arrived at your destination, but it turns out there really is no destination, and life just keeps going.
Wherever life takes you, protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters, a show that covers everything having to do with your home. Tune in every Saturday from 2 to 3 on Seattle Red, where you'll hear from local business owners who are experts in their industries. From foundation to flooring, roofing and windows, furniture and financial planning, it's everything in and around your home, and we've got you covered here on Home Matters. If it matters to you, it matters to us here at Home Matters. Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on Seattle Red, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Seattle Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastlake, 33 BU Seattle.
The following is a Playfly Sports presentation of the Cougar Sports Network. Washington State basketball is on the air with the Coors Light Cougar Courtside Show.
Makes the pass, left wing three, takes it, and makes it. Oh, another big three is needed. It's Reeve Babers who delivers again. Takes away the pass, 2-on-1 fast break, alley-oop block. Thomas Rogerson, one-hand alley-oop lay-in.
Coors Light, choose chill. Proud partner of Cougar Athletics. Celebrate responsibly. Coming up, we'll get today's keys to the game, check the latest scores around college basketball, and hear from head coach David Riley. Now, let's go courtside. Alongside WSU Athletic Hall of Famer and 14-year NBA veteran Craig Elo, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
Good evening and welcome into Beasley Coliseum for Washington State Cougars basketball. The Cougs back in action after an 8-day break. Washington State hosting the Pacific Tigers here at home tonight. The Cougs enter this game 11-16 on the year, 6-8 in conference play. Pacific 17-11 overall this season and 8-7 in the WCC. They are in fourth place in the conference. There was that break for the Cougs, good not only physically to have that rest, but to hit the reset button a little bit as well. Including tonight, there are just 4 more regular season games to go. Everyone jockeying for where they can finish in the standings to get the best seeding possible for the WCC tournament, which gets started down in Las Vegas on March 5th. That last outing, it was a forgettable one for the Cougs. It was back 8 days ago up at the Kennel in Spokane, losing 83-53 to Gonzaga. It was a season low for points with 53. Cougs turned it over 21 times, only had 7 assists. Jerome Morton was a bright spot. He had 15 points, but the Cougs had their largest deficit of the season at one point, down by as many as 39. Gonzaga had 50 points in the paint, but Eggs, that's now in the rearview mirror, and there's this big opportunity tonight against Pacific, a team that's not only been surging this year, but they had the Cougs numbered last year. They swept Washington State in those 2 games by a combined 3 points. Cougs looking to get a little redemption, a little avenge those losses last year.
I'm going to be Sam Darnold. Why'd you say that? Because I almost forgot that they beat us twice last year. That was their only 2 wins, right? So, yes, if our roster was the same as last year, then, yeah, there might be some vendetta.
Yeah, a little vendetta
to add to this. But, yeah, I think it was a great hire by Pacific, getting Coach Smart from Canada. It's kind of, he does some things differently, the way they play, but he's got a really good team this year. They are solid from top to bottom, and I think if they can keep him there, man, he'll improve that program quite drastically.
And before he got there, they had some real lean years, real tough seasons, and yet last year they ended up with 9 wins. That was one of their highlights, just beating WSU twice last season. And this year, they're 17-11, 8-7 in conference play. And again, they're in the driver's seat to finish 4th in the WCC. That tier has kind of established itself at the top with Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Santa Clara, and everyone else has been jockeying for position behind that. But from the WSU perspective, you've got this game tonight against Pacific. You have Senior Day Saturday night against St. Mary's. Then you go on the road to play LMU and Pepperdine. If you win all 4 of those, you could be in 4th place, which gets you that bye to the quarterfinals. So this is a huge opportunity for the Cougs to seize momentum here. And on that note, that takes us right to Craig Elo's keys to the game. Eggs, what's going through your mind when you think about this matchup tonight?
Well, I agree with you on this game is very, very important for the Cougs to get off to the games that you just mentioned. I mean, these guys played great basketball. They have out-rebounded their opponents 14 of the 15 times in conference. Rebounding is one of our keys, our strongholds. So who's going to win the boards tonight? I hope it's us. I mean, they have a +9 margin. So if I was telling Jerry, if we get 40, they get 45, we get 36, and that could be the difference in the ball game, especially on the offensive rebounds or second chance points. And he's only used 2 starting lineups. That's big in my book. I mean, I know injuries play a big part of it, but when you have consistency in your starting lineup and guys know their role coming off of the bench, that makes it very, very tough for the opponent. And they just get that they know their minutes, they know when they're going to do this and that. So I think that's one of the biggest things is that he's only used 2 starting lineups. And we can't, well, Coach, this is my bonus one. Coach Rowley loves saying that we love to play fast. They are 12-0 when they outscore the opponents in fast break points. So maybe we slow them down a little bit tonight and see. But the good news is we got Tomas coming back.
Yes, and we will get to that with David Riley coming up, but some exciting news. Tomas Thrasserson, who's been out hurt since that game on December 30th against Seattle U, set to come back here tonight. We've got more as we get you all set for tonight's matchup. Cougs hosting Pacific. When we return, we'll have our opposing team spotlight, and we'll hand things off to Austin Samuels to have a scoreboard update and a look at the standings. We'll sit down and get the pregame thoughts of the head coach of the Cougs, David Riley, and of course the starting lineups and tip-off, all here from Beasley Coliseum, Washington State hosting Pacific. This is Cougar Basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
Hi, this is Kate Bice, co-owner of Allegra Image 360 on Main Street in Moscow, the one-stop shop for your printing, signage, and marketing needs. After all the nasty winter weather, are your signs looking a little worse for the wear? We can design and install vinyl lettering, standalone signs, banners, graphics, and more. Stop by our Moscow office and see how our talented team at Allegra can help your business look its best for the spring sunshine.
Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories is a high-tech global company headquartered in Pullman, Washington, with a mission of making electric power safer, more reliable, and more economical. At SEL, employees enjoy working in a fast-paced, innovative environment while enjoying the many benefits of living on the Palouse. SEL is seeking engineers for paid internships and full-time positions. Apply to join the growing SEL team today at selinc.com/careers.
Be a part of all the excitement at Beasley Coliseum this year. Come cheer on the Washington State Cougars men's and women's basketball teams as they host the likes of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Oregon State in conference play this season. Don't miss out on all the action. Grab your tickets to upcoming WSU basketball games today at WSUCougars.com/tix. Again, that's WSUCougars.com/TIX. See you at Beasley Coliseum. Go Cougs!
Dear Winter, Toyota can't get enough of you. Because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. From the versatile RAV4 to the svelte Crown, the sleek Camry all-wheel drive, the Corolla Hybrid all-wheel drive, the rugged Tacoma, the tenacious Tundra, and the spacious Grand Highlander with all-wheel drive to keep you and yours safe. Hey, you bring the action, we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
Courtside at Beasley Coliseum, Washington State clashing with the Pacific Tigers tonight. There's only 1 week after this left to go in the regular season. Saturday, Senior Day. Love to have you join us here at Beasley Coliseum. 7 o'clock tip-off as the St. Mary's Gales make their way to the Palouse. Pretty tight game when the Cougs went down to Moraga for that first matchup with St. Mary's, but the Gales ended up coming out on top. Time now for our opposing team spotlight. And we're taking a look at this Pacific Tigers team. It is interesting the way the WCC is this year. It's not a completely balanced schedule. There are some teams you only play once. Pacific, that is one of the teams the Cougs will only see one time during the regular season, and his first matchup isn't here until the second to last week of the regular season. Pacific having an outstanding year, 8-7 on the season in conference play, 17-11 overall. They're currently in fourth place. They were picked preseason to finish 10th out of 12 teams, so they've already doubled last year's conference win total. They're coached by Dave Smart, fascinating background, regarded as one of the most successful Canadian college basketball coaches of all time. Came to Pacific after being an assistant coach at Texas Tech, won 650-plus games in 18 years as the head coach at Carleton University in Ottawa, and they've got a Canadian flavor to this team. There are 6 Canada natives on the roster. They've been great at rebounding this year, 11th in the nation in rebounding margin, +9. Eggs mentioned it in the prior segment. They've out-rebounded their opposition in 14 of the 15 conference games. They also struggle with turnovers, which has been a weakness for the Cougs. Their star player is Elias Ralph. Ralph was with them last year. He's from Okotoks, Alberta, went to the University of Victoria, just like Simon Hildebrand, started his career playing college basketball in Canada, coming down here to the States, and having a lot of success. Not only was he preseason all-conference, but top 5 in the WCC right now in points per game, rebounds per game, minutes per game, field goal percentage, and free throw percentage. He's one of the top, most impactful players in the WCC.
Yeah, and I want to say last year when they came here in the first minute, didn't he get popped?
He played 35 seconds.
35 seconds, so we didn't really know what he could do. But then when we go to Pacific, this kid is an all-around player.
The Cougs will have their hands full with him. We'll talk to David Riley about Elias Ralph and the Pacific Tigers. That's coming up. In our next segment after this timeout, we'll turn things over to Austin Samuels. We'll have a scoreboard update. We'll have that pregame chat with the head coach of the Cougs, David Riley. And, of course, the starting lineups and tip-off here from Beasley Coliseum, Washington State taking on Pacific. This is Washington State basketball on the Cougars Sports Network.
If you use natural gas, you recognize its blue flame. But natural gas is actually invisible and odorless. That's why Avista adds a rotten egg scent in case there's ever a leak. If you smell natural gas at home, get outside fast. Don't flip switches or do anything to cause a spark. Go somewhere safe. Call 911. Then Avista. We'll take care of the problem and tell you when it's okay to return. Till then, it's a good excuse to visit the neighbors. Avista. We just want you to be safe.
Get game day ready at Rosars. Rosars is a proud sponsor of WSU Athletics and your headquarters for keeping snacks stocked up for game time. You'll find the largest craft beer selection, local and imported wines, and all the makings for your favorite cocktails. And while you're there, stock up on your favorite deli snacks, pizza, rotisserie chickens, and ribs. Don't just watch the game, experience it with your favorite game time foods. Get game day ready at Rosars.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Play, stay, get away at Clearwater River Casino in Lewiston, Idaho. Owned and operated by the Nez Perce Tribe. Experience Namipu hospitality with 600 gaming machines, comfortable lodging, dining, and sports bar. Excitement is everywhere. The region's premier destination for events and entertainment. Win big with unforgettable concerts, comedy shows, and live sports action. Discover your next play, stay, get away. Visit crcasino.com and start your adventure today.
Time now to check scores from across college basketball. Brought to you by Coors Light. Choose chill. Proud partner of Cougar Athletics. Celebrate responsibly.
Welcome you back to the Coors Light Cougar Courtside Show. Washington State and Pacific about to collide here in Beasley Coliseum. The Cougs looking to put an end to a 3-game losing streak here tonight on their home floor. Austin Samuels with you for a scoreboard update. First of all, the Washington State women not in action tonight. They'll play tomorrow. They'll make the short road trip up north to Spokane to take on Gonzaga at 6 o'clock Pacific time tomorrow night. 3 games going on in the WCC this evening outside of Pullman. St. Mary's looking for their 5th straight win. That's the Cougs' next opponent. They'll play them Saturday. They're facing Seattle U on the road tonight in Climate Pledge Arena. That one just got going. A minute into the game, Seattle U, the Redhawks lead 1-0 against St. Mary's. Portland and Pepperdine will collide tonight from the Childs Center in Portland. The Pilots are currently a game behind WSU in the WCC standings coming into tonight. Tip-off there is set for 7 p.m. Pacific time. The 11th ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs, they're hunting their 4th straight win since that road stumble to Portland. They're in San Francisco tonight to take on the Dons. Graham Ike was just named West Coast Conference Player of the Week last week. He has put up 20-plus points in 7 consecutive games coming into tonight. Tip-off from the Bay, set for 8 p.m. Pacific time. Let's take a look at the updated West Coast Conference standings coming into tonight. It is Gonzaga in first place. Right now, the 11th ranked Bulldogs are 13-1 in conference play. Right behind them, Santa Clara 13-2 in WCC play. They're in second place. St. Mary's, the Gales, in third at 12-2 in league play. Then it's the Cougs' opponent here tonight, the Pacific Tigers, 8-7 in conference play, 17-11 overall. They sit a game up in fourth place. A two-way tie for fifth between Oregon State and the San Francisco Dons at 7-8 in league play. Then it's the Cougs, right now sitting in seventh place in the WCC, 6-8 in conference play, 11-16 overall. If the Cougs could win tonight on their home floor, it would jump them into that tie for fifth place and also bring Pacific a little bit closer. They would just be a half a game behind the Pacific Tigers. Behind Washington State, it's Portland and Seattle U tied for 8th place, 5-9 in league play. San Diego in 9th at 5-10, and then Loyola Marymount and Pepperdine, the two at the bottom of the standings, 4-11 and 2-12, respectively, in conference play. Washington State and Pacific coming your way in just about 15 minutes from Beasley Coliseum in Pullman. When we come back, our Chris King will be joined by the head coach of the Cougs, David Riley, to break down this matchup after this. You're listening to Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
Okay, text from the wedding planner. She's talking about a cake pop mural. Ah, exciting. Ooh, it's $8,000.
Oh.
I don't know, we're trying to save for a house.
Well, you only get married once. Or twice. 3 times tops.
There's a lot of bad money advice out there. For knowledge you can trust, come to Gisa Credit Union. Whether it's saving for the wedding or everything that comes after, we can help get you where you want to be. Find a healthier approach to money at Gisa.
Dear Winter, Toyota can't get enough of you. Because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. From the versatile RAV4 to the svelte Crown, the sleek Camry all-wheel drive, the Corolla Hybrid all-wheel drive, the rugged Tacoma, the tenacious Tundra, and the spacious Grand Highlander with all-wheel drive to keep you and yours safe. Hey, you bring the action, we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
So after you win the guaranteed $1 million giveaway at Northern Quest, your resignation letter pretty much writes itself. But just in case, take this down. Dear boss, I just won $1 million. You, sir, are cordially invited to, then fill in the blank as appropriate. Done and done. The 25th anniversary Quest for the Million giveaway. See website for details. Northern Quest, 25 years bold.
Time to learn about the cold, hard facts for today's game with head coach David Riley. Presented by Coors Light. Choose chill. Proud partner of Cougar Athletics. Celebrate responsibly. Now, with David Riley, here's Chris King.
Cougs gearing up to take on Pacific here with David Riley. And, Coach, starting off with some good news. Tomas Thraserson has been out for the Cougs since all the way back on December 30th. That game in Seattle against Seattle U. He's back tonight. What can we expect from Tomas after the long layoff?
You know, it'd be good to see him out there on the floor, and he's only been back for a few days, so it'll be limited. His wind will be little different than it had been before he got hurt, but he's a veteran presence and has done a great job for us. So we're excited to have him back.
Been 8 days between games. How has that stretch been since that last matchup back last Tuesday against Gonzaga?
It's great. We had a good mix of some really, really competitive, hard practices. We had work to do. We got to get better, and then we had some time off. We had a 2-day stretch where the guys got to rest their bodies, get reset mentally and physically, and get ready for this home stretch.
Pacific comes into this game 8-7 in conference play. They've got 17 wins this year. What's allowed them to have the kind of success that they've had this season?
I think they've done a great job of getting guys that are really physical, that can think the game, and they've just played a really, really smart style of basketball. They're one of the teams I really enjoy watching when I'm scouting other teams in conference.
That physicality shows up in their rebounding numbers. They're 11th in the nation in rebounding margin. They've won the rebounding battle in all but one conference game this year. How do you minimize that strength of theirs?
We got to hit first. It's going to be a game where we got to do our work early on the glass, and they're going to be very, very aggressive on the offensive glass. And it's a game where we got to show our physicality.
Last year, you talked about how for Pacific defensively, they want to force opposing teams to attack with Plan B. They force everything with your weak hand. Is that still the case this year?
Yeah. Coach Smart's been doing that since back in his Canadian days, and it's a game plan that really forces guys to play off their weak hand and make those passes that usually are a little more or less on target.
They have one of the top returners in the WCC in Elias Ralph. How do you contain him tonight?
We got to give him different looks. He's done a great job of being able to play on the outside versus bigger guys and take him on the perimeter, and then you put a smaller guy on him. He's got a lot of game in the post and just a versatile player that Coach Smart's done a great job of putting him in position to score.
One and only regular season matchup with Pacific. There were 2 close losses to the Tigers last year. Here tonight, this is an important one for the conference standings. What else haven't we talked about that you feel like is going to be critical for a Cougar win?
Well, I think you hit it on the head with rebounding being a huge deal. We got to win the paint in general. They do a great job of attacking to the post. They got a lot of their offense is 3 out, 2 in, and so we got to make sure that we're not allowing them to win the paint. And then on the offensive side, we got to play through the paint. They really swarm that first paint touch. They'll send 2 or 3 guys to block shots, and we got to make sure we kick it out and play together on offense.
Appreciate the time as always. Best of luck tonight.
Go Cougs.
Coug fans, don't miss a single play this season while camping on the Oregon coast, in the Sonoran Desert, or in the wilderness of Yellowstone in an RV from Valley RV Supercenter. Valley RVs can come with all the technologies you'll need so you never miss a down, wherever you are. Better yet, why not work on your pregame skills at an away game or in the Palouse, where tailgating was perfected. We're a proud Coug supporter. Come see us in Kent or at ValleyRVSupercenter.com, where journeys begin.
Your audio home for all things Cougar Athletics is the Washington State Cougar Podcast Channel. Just search for Washington State Cougars on your favorite podcast platform to follow and subscribe to the official podcast home of the Cougs. Hear our original WSU Athletics podcast, plus replays from the Cougar Sports Network, including football pregame and postgame show coverage, full football game broadcast, and coaches shows. Find it all by searching for Washington State Cougars on your favorite podcast platform to start listening today.
Cougs, to lead in the new Pac-12, we have to attack this together. Name, image, and likeness, NIL, is essential. It's how our programs recruit, retain, and elevate our student-athletes who don the crimson and gray. And now, you can directly support WSU NIL through our Cougar Athletic Fund. A tax-deductible gift to our Sport Excellence Funds powers WSU's NIL efforts, all in one place. Visit WSUCougars.com and select NIL in the drop-down menu to learn more. Go Cougs!
Hampton and Pullman is just a short drive from the Wazoo campus. They've got you covered for all your lodging and dining needs with the new addition of their on-site bar and restaurant, Crimson Bar and Bites. You will feel right at home with their spacious rooms, famous Hampton waffles, cozy outdoor patios, Cougar gift shop, and the friendliest staff in town. Visit HamptonbyHilton.com to reserve a room for your next trip to the Palouse. Coug owned and Coug managed. It matters where you stay. Hampton and Pullman. Hilton for the stay.
Back inside Beasley Coliseum, Chris King next to Craig Elo courtside with our engineer Jerry Kylo. Washington State hosting Pacific. And on that prior segment, we heard from David Riley. The good news that Tomas Throsterson is back. Tomas into the All-WCC freshman team last year. This season averaging 9 points per game, but he missed the last 12 with a foot injury. And David Riley did mention, Eggs, that he's going to be more limited. You don't just snap your fingers after missing 12 games and you're in that same kind of shape and flow that you've been in.
Yeah, especially with his injury, the stress fracture in your foot. They put you in a boot. They don't want to harm it in any way. And that's the only way you can do any cardio, basically, is to run up and down. So he's been without cardio since that Seattle game in December. And, you know, he's been here every night on the road with the team, cheering them on. He leads by example more than he does by vocal. And the things that he does for Coach Riley, we learned in his freshman year. So, yeah, I mean, this is a hustle guy, and he can change and help us on the boards that y'all were talking about in Coach Riley's interview.
Something else David Riley also mentioned, curious to get your thoughts on this, was the style of play for Pacific's defense, of just saying how that they want to take away what your strength is. They want to make you use your weak hand. How is that from the offensive perspective for WSU to deal with?
Well, you got to have not only if they blitz a ball screen, you've got to have you had to simulate that in practice. So you can't make the pass by yourself, so you got to make the pass to your teammate. And so it's the second and third things that happen in your offense that will have to take place in order to beat their defense.
Dave Smart, as we said, a Canadian coaching legend. He even was a coaching consultant for the NHL's Ottawa Senators.
Wow.
Kind of an out-of-the-box hire for Pacific last year, but he has done a gangbusters job. 17-11 this year, 8-7 in conference play. And this is Division I basketball team in the state of California. There's so much talent in that state, and yet they have 6 Canada natives on the team. That's more than they have California natives on the team. They've got BC, Alberta, and Ontario represented, but the Cougs have Manitoba represented with Simon Hildebrand.
Yep, and we only have one flag flying in here, so we won't hear the Canadian national anthem.
No, just you almost could sprinkle it in with how many Canadians there are between Pacific and Cougs, a little less representation. With that, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, it's time for tip-off. We'll dive into the starting lineups as well. Cougs hosting Pacific. You're listening to Washington State Basketball on the Cougars Sports Network.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Look, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but if you're a WSU fan and you haven't switched your phone service to Cougs Mobile, you're passing up a slam dunk. Here's the deal. You get exclusive game day perks, and Cougs Mobile contributes to WSU athletics every time you pay your monthly bill. No contracts, no hidden fees, no reason to wait. Switch now to the only phone plan built for Coug fans and on the T-Mobile 5G network. Visit CougsMobile.com.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
This is Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
Kill dish, Tomas to the basket, left-handed footer, he's got it. Cougs red hot out of the game.
Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Coors Light. Choose chill, proud partner of Cougar Athletics. Celebrate responsibly. It's game time on the Cougar Sports Network. Now, alongside WSU Athletic Hall of Famer and 14-year NBA veteran Craig Elo, here's the voice of the Cougs, Chris King.
A golden opportunity for Washington State tonight to build momentum. There's 2 weeks left to go in the regular season. 4 games left to play, including tonight. The Cougs could put together a 4-game winning streak. Right now, Washington State in the middle of the pack of the WCC. They could stumble and fall lower and potentially be one of the bottom 4 teams and have to play 6 games in 6 days to win it all in Vegas. Or they could make a big push here and get past this Pacific team, the opponent tonight who's 4th in the WCC, and end up getting a bye all the way to the quarterfinals. So much up in the air and so much that could be gained tonight as Washington State hosts Pacific. Taking a look at the starting lineups for tonight's game for the Washington State Cougars. No changes for David Riley. At starting 5 on the backcourt, Jerome Morton, joined by Ace Glass, the true freshman, averaging 16 points per game. That's 4th best in the WCC, 18th in the nation among all freshmen. Rounding out the starting 5, Reeve Vavers, who's averaged 15 points per game over his last 7. Emily Yalaho has been a bit hot and cold, had 21 in the last home game against Santa Clara, but that last game against Gonzaga, scoreless and 5 turnovers. Let's see if he can really up his game tonight, more like we're used to seeing. And rounding out the starting 5, N.D. Okafor, averaging 10 points, 5 rebounds per game. For the Pacific Tigers, they're coached by Dave Smart in his 2nd year, leading the program at Pacific. In the backcourt for Pacific, Jaden Clayton, another Canada native for this Pacific squad. That's very much a theme. He's 21st in the nation in assists per game, averaging 7 points per contest. Played the last 3 years at Maine. Talented scorer joining him in the backcourt, T.J. Wainwright. Wainwright averaging 13 points per game. He's shooting 43% from beyond the arc in WCC games. Justin Rochelin played in 37 games in 2 years at Oregon State. Cougs have played him before, averaging 9 points per contest. And then it is Isaac Jack, the senior forward from Vancouver Island, Port Alberni, British Columbia, averaging 9 points, 5 rebounds per game. And their stud, Elias Ralph, averaging 16 points, 6 rebounds per game. Our officiating crew for tonight's game, a familiar collection, a familiar trio here. Randy McCall, Keith Patterson, and Jimmy Cassis. Cougs are 6-8 in the WCC, Pacific 8-7 in conference. This is the one and only meeting during the regular season between these two teams.
So that's just like us in San Francisco. They beat us, so if we tie with this team coming into the tournament or San Francisco, and if we don't beat them, I mean, that's the head-to-head is the tiebreaker. So this is a very, very crucial game for this team.
So much to be gained. The Cougs getting those 8 days off, and obviously Gonzaga is a very difficult opponent, but one of the tougher performances of the season for the Cougs in their last game. But that was 8 days ago. David Riley talking about how it was great to get not only the physical rest, but the mental rest. Let's see if this team is ready for this stretch run here to close out the regular season. Senior Day Saturday against St. Mary's. That will tip off at 7. Then on the road to wrap up the regular season, taking on LMU and Pepperdine. Cougs in their home white uniforms, white shorts, white tops. Cougars in crimson block lettering on the front. The numbers in crimson with the gray outline. Pacific in their road black uniforms. They've got the Halloween color combination, black and orange. Black shorts, black tops. Pacific, and white lettering with the orange outline. The numbers in orange with the white outline. We're ready to go here. Isaac Jack and N.D. Okafor awaiting the tip-off. It is swatted back by Isaac Jack. Pacific collects it, and we are off and going here at Beasley Coliseum. Cougs taking on Pacific. These two teams met last year 2 times. Pacific won both games by a total of 3 points. Won in overtime on a Lamar Washington buzzer beater here at Beasley. Driving, here's a kick out. Wainwright thinking about the 3. Goes instead to the paint. His floater with the left hand. He's got it. Pacific draws first blood up 2-0.
Yeah, that was a poor closeout by Ace Glass coming out. He ran right by him thinking Wainwright was going to shoot the 3.
Morton finds Glass, left elbow, picks up his dribble, spins it back over to Morton. Ball moving across the perimeter. Yalaho peeking down low. Can he get the entry pass? He does. Okafor Jockeying down low with Isaac Jack. Two big fellas. Finds a cutting. Favors. Nice towards the hoop. Laying up and in. Great dish by ND. Ree with the finish. We're all tied up at 2 apiece.
Yeah, the new shoes Reeves is wearing, he's moving without the basketball, and that was a big-time play.
Kind of we'll call it a muted teal. Kind of a
better than the
green.
pink.
Better, a little different.
The light pink.
More of a green color for Reeve Avers. Elias Ralph left wing, defended by Yalaho. Ralph picks up his dribble, the black headband to go with the long hair just above his shoulders. Now to a cutting teammate, it's Clayton. Down low to Jack, easy lay-in. One shoulder shimmy was all it took to shake his defender. Basket's good. Pacific leads the Cougs 4-2.
And Morton was bad at the defense there. He should have stayed with his man. Instead, he gambled.
ND drive, kick out, Yalaho 3. It is blocked. Ralph got a piece of it. Pacific scoops up the loose ball. Cougs trailing 4-2 and get the defensive stops here. This Pacific team, praised by David Riley, as being very smart. They're very physical. So they're a very cerebral team, taking after their coach, Dave Smart. Jaden Clayton pulls up. He'll launch the 3 on its way. In and out, misses. Rebound, Washington State's Ace Glass. Eyes up as he crosses midcourt. Nothing there for the quick strike. Glass now to Okafor, top of the key. Hands off to Reeve Avers, sets his feet, takes the 3, misses to the right. Rebound by Pacific. 4-2, Tigers with the ball and the 2-point lead.
That kind of goes against what Favors does in his shooting motion. He was going the opposite.
Justin Rochelin finds Jack down low, misses the first hook shot, second attempt after the offensive rebound. That's too hard off the back iron. Cougs get the board. This is a great rebounding team at Pacific that's going to be a critical number. Morton into traffic, flails to the floor, but finds Yalaho just keeping the possession. 18 on the shot clock. Glass pestered the ball. Is it a jump ball or ripped away? It'll be a jump ball. Glass, almost like he was bullied on the schoolyard between Rochelin and Jack. Those are two big physical guys, and for the Cougs, not bad all things considered. It wasn't a turnover. It's a jump ball, possession arrow, Washington State's direction.
But that's exactly what they do. They double team the ball screen, so Ace, instead of, he couldn't have split him, so he picked up his dribble, and now he's double teamed. So you got to make the pass to the other side of the floor.
A little over 2.5 minutes into the game, Washington State trails Pacific 4-2. Cougs inbound the ball to Jerome Morton, was the top scorer in the last game against Gonzaga, fishing for a foul, and he gets it. TJ Wainwright going to be called for the whistle here, and Morton, that was a prayer, and his only hope was to be bailed out with the foul call, and sometimes those prayers get answered by the basketball gods. That's what happened. Jerome to the line for 2.
And I'd love to see him go to the line because he's, 88 or 86% free throw shooter, so he can be very harmful on the defense if he gets to the free throw line.
The lefty misses the first, 43 of 51 at the foul line before that miss. Morton, first-year Coug, transfer from Morehead State. Had a team high 15 in the last game against Gonzaga. Swishes his second. Cougs pull within 1. Pacific 4, Washington State 3. 17 minutes and 10 seconds to play in the first half here at Beasley Coliseum. Jaden Clayton started all 96 games he played in his 3 years at Maine. Now in his final year of eligibility. In his only season playing for the Pacific Tigers. Wainwright takes the cross-court pass. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Ralph gets the dish of the Pac-12 Shield logo, trying to post up on Morton. Ball knocked away, touched out of bounds by Jack. Good defense by Jerome Morton. Cougs forced the turnover. We mentioned that in the pregame, Eggs. Washington State has struggled with turnovers, but that's also an area of weakness for Pacific.
Yeah, and again, the defense on that particular possession, we made the ball go from one side to the other, and then when they isolated Frank, we were there.
Morton high steps into traffic, finds Okafor, fouled, high up with the lay-in, rattles around, drops through the cylinder. Count the bucket for ND. Cougs take their first lead of the night, up 5-4, and Okafor heads to the line. One shot coming up. His chance at a three-point play.
And normally when ND does score early and gets to the free throw line early, he has a different mindset. So, yeah, now he's going to be like in focus and ready to play.
He makes the foul shot. Cougs lead 6-4. Okafor has scored in double figures 11 of the last 13 games. The only 2 times he hasn't was against Gonzaga. Wainwright, off-balance runner, count the bucket. He makes it with the left hand, and that's going to tie up the game. And Wainwright, a 92% free throw shooter, an opportunity to give the edge back to Pacific.
And again, you've seen this, and you'll be teaching Cam this all the time if he decides to play basketball. Closeouts, you got to have your feet squeaking and then your positioning is down. Ace comes out with his feet just running at him. And, yeah, Wainwright just read that and just bumped him enough to get the foul call.
Foul shot is good, so 3-point play for 3-point play. Pacific back up by 1, 7-6, 16 minutes, 20 seconds to go. First half here at Beasley Coliseum. Cougs have been trying to work it down low to Okafor. Morton can't quite get it to him. Top of the key to Glass. Glass off the Vaver screen. Whips it back over to Ree. Ree goes to the foul line, terminates the dribble, 7 on the shot clock. Near midcourt, finds Glass. Down low to Morton. Very physical. Wainwright getting away with a lot of contact. Doesn't matter. Turn around, 5-footer. It's a swish for Morton. Jerome gives the lead back to the Cougs, 8-7.
And what I liked about Morton on that particular play, he demanded the basketball. He was not going to give up his position.
He has scored in double figures 9 times this year. Again, coming off a 15-point performance against Gonzaga. Jack has it, middle of the paint, goes up with the left hand. He's fouled. This is going to be against Andy Okafor, and Isaac Jack will get 2 foul shots when we return. Well, it has been a nip and tuck start here at Beasley Coliseum. So much to be gained for both teams here tonight if they can come away with a victory. 15 minutes, 38 seconds remaining to go in the first half. Washington State up on Pacific, 8-7. More from Beasley Coliseum after this here on the Cougar Sports Network.
Be a part of all the excitement at Beasley Coliseum this year. Come cheer on the Washington State Cougars men's and women's basketball teams as they host the likes of Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Oregon State in conference play this season. Don't miss out on all the action. Grab your tickets to upcoming WSU basketball games today at WSUCougars.com/tix. Again, that's WSUCougars.com/TIX. See you at Beasley Coliseum. Go Cougs!
When putting in a tree or fence post, we all hate it when our shovel hits a big rock. But there are worse things to come across, like a natural gas or electric line. Nowadays, buried utilities are everywhere, some just below the surface. That's why it's the law to call 811 before you dig, to have your lines marked ahead of time. It's free for Avista residential customers. So call 811 2 business days before you dig. You need time to pick out that perfect shrub anyway. Avista, we just want you to be safe.
RV buyers, it's a fact. Jayco builds America's best-selling models with superior engineering, Amish craftsmanship, and the best in the business warranty. Valley RV Supercenter is America's top volume Jayco store because they make them affordable. For comfort and reliability, there's no better choice than Jayco. And for a great buy, there's no better choice than Valley RV Supercenter. Stop by and see them in Kent and check out their full Jayco lineup. Or visit ValleyRVSupercenter.com, where journeys begin.
Nation. Each time you bring your Toyota vehicle to be serviced at a local and participating Toyota dealership, you can receive a premium Washington State giveaway item as a member of the Toyota Rewards program. To join the program, visit WSUCougars.com/Toyota Rewards. With Zane Saggio back in the Cougar Sports Network studios, Chris King back courtside next to Craig Elo, our engineer Jerry Kyla. We got Austin Samuels handling halftime updates and scoreboards as well. 15:38 to play here in the half at Beasley Coliseum. Cougs lead Pacific 8-7, but 2 foul shots coming up for the Tigers' Isaac Jack. But Eggs, this is a great side. Tomas Throsterson has missed the last 12 games with a foot injury. He is back out on the court here.
Yeah, again, I think Coach Riley has said it many times before. He knows what Tomas is going to give him, and yeah, he hasn't played since December 30th, I believe. So, I mean, it's going to be exciting to see if he plays like with his head cut off, where he's just happy to be back out there, or under control.
First foul shot is good from Isaac Jack, ties the game at 8 apiece. Next foul shot, he makes it. And already another lead change in this game. Pacific with the advantage. This is lead change number 4. There have been 2 ties, 9-8 in favor of the Tigers. Out of the timeout, Tomas, Adria Rodriguez come in, staying out on the court. Jerome Morton, Emily Yalaho, and Ree Vavers. Yalaho, left wing, finds Tomas, and Riley's saying he's only been back for a few days, so just that conditioning, getting his sea legs underneath him, still a work in progress. Tomas breaks 3, will launch a 3, it just comes up short. Battle for the rebound, Morton able to force a jump ball, possession arrow pointing Pacific's direction, but a good hustle play by Morton to even create the jump ball.
And it was actually a good offensive set. We got Tomas a really good look at a 3, and yeah, I thought he maybe could have like drove a little bit or one hard dribble, but there's nothing wrong with him shooting the three when his defender goes under the screen.
Andre Rodriguez defending Caius Kabliskis as he gets the ball across midcourt. Kabliskis, backup point guard, finds Clayton in the corner, takes the three-pointer. It is no good. Offensive rebound, though. Jayon Pitt, very talented freshman, gets the board. Wraparound lay-in. It's good. Clayton gets the bucket, and he's fouled. 11-8 Pacific with the largest lead either team has had, and an opportunity to make it a 4-point advantage as he heads to the line for one.
And this is exactly what they do to opponents. I mean, they get second and third opportunities in one possession. So, yeah, the Cougs have to. Reeves was just very close to getting that defensive board.
Clayton misses the foul shot. One-handed rebound by Yalaho. He really had to clamp down on that ball. 11-8. Cougs trail by 3. Washington State with the ball. Rodriguez into the lane, starts to drive, but there'll be a foul on Emily Yalaho, an illegal screen on EY. The prior foul was called on Reeve Avers. The foul total right now, 4 against Washington State as a team. A little over 5 minutes in the action here at Beasley Coliseum. Cougs trail Pacific 11-8.
And that's the toughest thing a ball handler has to do is wait for the guy to set the screen and get his feet set. But he was moving very, very fast.
Jaden Clayton, one of 3 Ontario natives on the team, finds Elias Ralph from Alberta. Turnaround shot is good. Ralph had been quiet offensively to this point. He gets a made bucket on that short jumper, and the lead expands to 5 for Pacific, 13-8. Cougs just haven't been able to find a lot of rhythm here offensively. Tomas breaks 3 off of the screen, starts to drive, pops it out over to Ree. Ree, a little bit of happy feet. Able to clear it out to Adria. Adria shoves it to his right to Yalaho. EY begins to drive, 8 on the shot clock. Double team step back jumper. He makes it. Not an easy shot, but the fade away from the foul line goes. Cougs pull within 3, 13-10.
Yeah, that was definitely a one-on-one. He caught that ball with 10 seconds left, and he had to go one-on-one with the defender.
Kabliskis will try to answer back with a fadeaway of his own. He does just that. Straightaway look from 4 feet. He won a national championship at Florida last year, played sparingly. The first-year Tiger expands the lead to 5. Drive from Adria Rodriguez. There'll be a foul called. Morton hit the deck as well. We'll confirm that this is on the shot.
It has to be. He continued, yes. Very good play by Adria. He heard the whistle and continued to shoot.
So Rodriguez has been up and down at the foul line this year. He's made 7 of his last 11, but he's a 42% free throw shooter. Cougs down by 5. Here's the first. Rodriguez makes it, so that growing confidence, not just the success, but you can almost see that confidence radiating a little more from Andre at the foul line.
Yeah, because, even when he comes off of a ball screen on the side or even at the top, he's not much of a threat to, hard dribble pull up. He's got to do more at getting to the rim. So, yeah, it's good to see him at least shoot the ball in the act of shooting because of the early start at the free throw percentage for the Cougs was not happening for him.
He does miss the second. Pacific gets the rebound. Washington State down by 4. Checking into the game for the first time, Simon Hildebrand and Okafor Ace Glass also come back out on the court. Throsterson and Rodriguez remain, those 5 Cougs in those white home uniforms here at Beasley Coliseum. Kabliskis starts to drive, really nice towards the basket, laying no good, but ball tipped back for Pacific, second chance. Here's a 3, that misses, loose ball, who's going to come away with it? It's Washington State, so Justin Rochelin couldn't make that second chance 3. Cougs able to eliminate a third opportunity.
Yeah, and again, defensive rebound is something that we got to escalate tonight against the Tigers.
Okafor begins to drive. The big fella rumbles to the hoop, baseline, high off the window. Not the easiest angle, and still shoves it up and in. Cougs right now in a 3-0 run. They pull within a possession. Pacific 15, Washington State 13. 12:40 and counting to play first half. Isaac Jack there to set a screen for Jaden Clayton. Andre Rodriguez staying tight with him. Now will be a step-back 3, hand in his face. It misses. Simon Hildebrand, good job of boxing out. He gets the rebound for the Cougs. Outlet pass up to Andre Rodriguez. Takes the ND Okafor screen into the paint. Back over to ND. ND starts to attack the basket. Turnaround hook shot. Too strong on it. No good. Tomas Throsterson, offensive rebound. He's fouled from behind. Well, that is what Tomas can do. He missed the last 12 games. Throsterson back here tonight and gets an offensive rebound against a really good rebounding team.
Yeah, and that was a great play by Tomas because his defender had turned his head, and when he turned his head, he was watching ND and Jack go at it. He made the play to get the missed shot.
Pacific 11th in the nation in rebounding margin. So far tonight, they're only +1 on the glass compared to Washington State. And now pass to the baseline. Short pass over to Okafor. Turnaround, fade away. Off target to the right. Rebound by Justin Rochelin for Pacific.
And see, that's exactly what you're talking about.
Well, you can see that from a mile away. Justin Rochelin was playing downhill, but so much that he was a runaway train that went right into Tomas Throsterson, and it was that forearm that shoved off. It's clear as day, an offensive foul.
But Pacific's defense on the possession before that on offense, they made ND not come back to a strong hand and take a tough shot fading away.
Cougs shooting 50% in this game. Interesting, both teams are good three-point shooting teams, and there will be a foul against Pacific away from the ball.
Yeah.
Rochelin. And that will be team foul number 6. It's going to take us to immediate timeout. So those fouls are starting to add up for Pacific and for Rochelin. Oh, no, it's going to be on Elias Ralph. So it's going to be his first personal. Caius Kabliskas has 2, though. Clock stop with 11:51 remaining in the first half here at Beasley Coliseum. Cougs, an important game, taking on a Pacific team they're hoping to catch in the standings. A win tonight would help in a big way. It's Pacific 15, Washington State 13. Back after this, you're listening to Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
This Washington State University sports broadcast is brought to you in part by Pullman Regional Hospital, the official hospital of Washington State Athletics. Rural communities face unique healthcare challenges. By providing hands-on opportunities for WSU students in health sciences, nursing, pharmacy, and the Elson S. Floyd College of Medicine, Pullman Regional Hospital is helping to shape the future of local healthcare. Learn more at pullmanregional.org. Pullman Regional Hospital and Washington State, partners in excellence.
Look, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but if you're a WSU fan and you haven't switched your phone service to Cougs Mobile, you're passing up a slam dunk. Here's the deal. You get exclusive game day perks, and Cougs Mobile contributes to WSU athletics every time you pay your monthly bill. No contracts, no hidden fees, no reason to wait. Switch now to the only phone plan built for Coug fans and on the T-Mobile 5G network. Visit CougsMobile.com.
Whether you're cleaning up to host a backyard game day party or just powering through your fall projects, you can count on the performance of Steel. From blowers to chainsaws, Steel tools are built to go the distance. With legendary quality and real dealer support, you'll find the right tool and the right team for every job. Steel, proud supporter of your Washington State Cougars.
Side at Beasley Coliseum. Chris King along with Craig Elo with you. 11:51 to go in the first half. Washington State down to Pacific 15-13. Cougs with the ball ready to inbound it from the baseline. Eggs, what has impressed you most so far in this game, and what's on the top of your mind?
Well, I think both teams very good defensively, and I admit that's evident in the score, 15-13.
Cougs inbounds pass to ND Okafor. Rainbow lob back to midcourt to Ace Glass. Shoves it back to ND. Low post left block. Goes up strong from the left side with the left hand. Muscles it up and in. Okafor's been the top scorer for the Cougs so far. He has 17 of the team's 15 points. It's been a 5-0 run for the Cougs to tie it up at 15 apiece. Runner, kick out route. Straightaway three attempted. He makes it. First three-pointer of the night. That tie did not last for long. Pacific 36 in the nation in three-point percentage. Gets a triple from the versatile Ralph. Here's Hildebrand trying to answer back. Three. He's fouled. Count the bucket. It's Elias Ralph who fouls him. 4-point play opportunity for Simon Hildebrand. Worth noting, Simon's biggest game of his career was when he was at the University of Manitoba. He scored 41 points against the University of Victoria. You know who's on that University of Victoria team?
Let me take a guess. Dave Smart.
No, Elias Ralph, who fouled him right there. So from playing in a Manitoba versus Victoria College game to playing here in a Division I matchup here, Hildebrand misses the foul shot, so he tied it up at 18 apiece, unable to give the Cougs back the lead. This has been a back and forth start. 4 ties, 4 lead changes. TJ Wainwright, talented scorer, checks back in between the circles, goes to Jayon Pitt, originally an Arizona State commit, then flipped to Pacific. Drive, here's Clayton under the basket, high arcing attempt for the right block. It falls in for Pacific. 20-18, Tigers take back the advantage. Reeve Avers back out on the floor. Avers, Hildebrand, Glass, Rodriguez, and Okafor. The 5 Cougs out on the hardwood. 3 head to the scorer's table, ready to check in for David Riley. 10 on the shot clock. Glass across the perimeter. Hildebrand, catch and shoot. Open 3, takes it. He's feeling it. Simon, another 3-pointer. And the Cougs with the edge, 21-20.
And it's good to see Simon have some confidence early in this game because he hasn't been shooting the ball very well. And like everybody else, you like your offense, you play better defense.
Clayton goes back out into the hands of Wainwright, defended by Ace Glass. Down low, gives it to Casey Obekwe at 6'11", posting up, hook shot, right hand, no good, defended by Okafor. He comes away with the rebound, quickly clears it out to Ace Glass. 5 Tigers waiting for him as there was no chance for a quick strike bucket. Pass over to Babers, he'll launch the long 3. Whoa. It's good! 3 straight made threes for the Cougs. They've got their largest lead of the night. It's Washington State 24, Pacific 20.
What in the world did they drink during that last media timeout?
Whatever it is, chug some more at the next. The Cougs knocking them down on a 6-0 run. They've made their last 4 field goals. Shot clock at 12. Wainwright drives. Crafty with his left hand. Down low to Obekwe. Loses the ball. Recollects it. 5 on the shot clock. Up for the hook shot. It misses. Reeve Avers there to get the rebound for the Cougs. Washington State all the momentum right now. 9 minutes to play first half, up by 4. It's been a 6-0 run. Okafor pulls up. A one-handed shot from the foul line. Misses. Obekwe gets the board for Pacific.
You said Simon was feeling it. I think ND was feeling it. That's not in his repertoire, though.
One-handed kind of a flick, if you will. Here's an entry pass. Too strong. Obekwe had to go off his fingertips on the pass from Rochelin. It's a turnover for Pacific. Both teams struggle with turnovers, but at this point, it's a fairly low number. That's the 3rd for Pacific. The Cougs have turned it over just one time, and there's 8:48 to go in the first half.
Yeah, and what are we, like 297th in turnover or assist to turnover ratio?
Turnover margins 350th out of 361 Division I teams. Hildebrand gives it to Garrett's. Parker seeing his first minutes. Garrett's, Yalaho, Morton come in. Glass, Hildebrand remain. Yalaho drives. Here's a running left hand lay-in. It is good. There was contact, no whistle, didn't matter. Making an 8-0 Cougar run. 26-20, Washington State on top of Pacific.
Yeah, and EY's first shot was a 3, and he got it blocked. And last 2 baskets he's made, he's put the ball on the deck and attacked the defense.
Washington State's top scorer, Ace Glass, hasn't even attempted a shot. Here's the 3, and it is good. Jaden Clayton, a 30% three-point shooter, ends that 8-0 run for the Cougs, cuts the Washington State lead in half. Here's the 3, trying to answer back. Glass misses it. His first attempt, it rims out. Pacific comes away with the defensive rebound. Cougs up by 3 under 8 minutes to go in the first half. Clayton defended by Parker Garretts. Clayton begins to accelerate. Bounce pass to Obekwe. Now back over to Clayton. Another 3-point attempt. He makes it. Back-to-back threes from Clayton. Seemed to be a defensive breakdown to leave him open. And in a blink of the eye, Pacific knots the game up at 26 apiece.
Yeah, he was. The defense was not supposed to come back and help on the post.
Yalaho takes a 3, in and out, misses. 2 Tigers collide into each other. They had a wide open look to get that rebound, but instead they knock into each other. It was Jayon Pitt and Jaden Clayton. It will be Cougar ball. So all of a sudden, after no threes were attempted, all of a sudden they're falling for both teams left and right.
They really are, and both teams, I don't think they live and die by, I mean, we have died by the 3-point, but yeah, it's good to see that we're shooting a good percentage right now.
Coors Light, Mountain Cold Refreshment, choose chill. Official partner of WSU Athletics. Celebrate responsibly. There's 7:25 to play in the first half at Beasley Coliseum. Washington State and Pacific tied up at 26 apiece. You're listening to Washington State basketball on the Cougar Sports Network.
Download the WSU Cougars mobile app today, which features the latest news. Plus, it's your way to stream all of our Cougar Sports Network radio broadcasts. Listen to Cougar football, volleyball, men's and women's basketball, baseball game broadcast, plus coaches shows, all for free with WSU Cougars Game Day app. Take our broadcast with you wherever you go. Available now by searching WSU Cougars Game Day in the Apple App Store or Google Play.
Around here, it's all-wheel drive all year round, and Toyota has more choices than anyone. Now through March 2nd, you can get $4,000 customer cash on new 26 Tundras, or get 2.99 APR financing on Tundra plus $1,000 TFS APR cash. With approved credit through TFS, excludes TRD Pro. APR cash must be applied to deal. A negotiable dock fee of up to $200 may be added. For complete details, go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Hampton and Pullman is just a short drive from the Wazoo campus. They've got you covered for all your lodging and dining needs with a new addition of their on-site bar and restaurant, Crimson Bar and Bites. You will feel right at home with their spacious rooms, famous Hampton waffles, cozy outdoor patios, Cougar gift shop, and the friendliest staff in town. Visit HamptonByHilton.com to reserve a room for your next trip to the Palouse. Coug owned and Coug managed. It matters where you stay. Hampton and Pullman. Hilton for the stay.
Washington State and Pacific all tied up at 26 apiece, 7:25 to play in the first half. Cougs will have the ball coming out of this media timeout. Right now we're approaching the top of the hour. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Cougar Sports Network.
Red on 770 KTTH Seattle, 97.3 KIRO FM, HD3 Tacoma Seattle, 94.5 K233 DT Eastlake, 33 BU Seattle.
This is a critical matchup for seeding implications. Pacific currently sits in fourth place in the WCC. They're a game and a half ahead of the Cougars. The number 3 and 4 seeds earn byes to the fourth round / quarterfinals of the conference tournament. The Cougs, 4 more regular season games left to go, including tonight, trying to build momentum. Eggs, you got that stat sheet in front of you. What sticks out to you?
Well, the turnovers, I mean, we're doing a very good job.